Like I said, very shocking to see a 2-0 lead on the defensive side to start things off on Coastline. Typically, you can get away with a kitchen win most often, and then other than that, it's kind of rolling dice at that point if you can get away with it. A very attacker-sided map is Coastline, and to see, I mean, this, I wouldn't say display of dominance, but at least bravado so far from Team Canada on Coastline on the defensive side. I mean, this is lining things up well for them. Even if they only walk away with a 3-2 lead into the second half when they head to their attack, everything is still skewed heavily in their favor to take map number 1.
Yeah, I mean, that second round really should have been Grizzlies. We should be looking at a 1-1 scoreline there, especially with the way that they structured their attack, which was, you know, much better than I think a lot of teams do when they push and execute onto bars. So Hookah's a bit of a different story here for them. Number one, map control on Hookah is much more important than it is on both the bars downstairs. You're usually going to see somebody roaming quite heavy. We saw it for just a second in Whiskers from Team Canada playing down in the kitchen. So, I mean, you've got 1 or 2 bodies who are going to play aggressively off-site because Hookah is, unless you can control Cool Vibe stairs, is very, I guess, accessible for a retake strategy. You're able to get back to site very fast. You're able to put pressure on them because a lot of these plants, if they're not coming in from the default spot, well, you're going to lose purple right away. There's the Glaz, one of the most pivotal operators for Grizzlies, gone to the C4, well used from Jarvis. But unless you're going for the default plant spot next to the billiards table, you're likely going to be doing it somewhere by that Hookah balcony doorway, and then you can be able to retake. A great shot from Focons will completely obliterate Peng there as he managed to blow open the wall inside of VIP. And he's got a nice line of sight all the way into billiards. Jarvis not going to get anything as Frenchie catches him. The IQ guns him down. And once again, we find Grizzlies with a numbers advantage.
Team Canada seemingly feeling themselves a little bit as 2 unwise and very aggressive peeks come out from Jarvis and Peng there. Yalda, from in behind the safety of bar, decides to peek out towards Focons. And granted, it was a very nice shot from Focons, but you lose your Maestro, the ability to maneuver and utilize those evil eyes for any damage and plant delay, and you also lose the Valkyrie. Even though Jarvis had already dispensed his Nitro Cell successfully and garnered a kill off of it, you then lose that man count advantage as well. Focon's still a little over half HP inside of VIP, but once again, we hit 30 seconds, and the site push from Grizzlies still looks very spread out. Now they're trying to coalesce inside of Aquarium to go for that final push, like we talked about, that default plant spot behind the bomb inside of Billiards. But everyone on Team Canada stacking in a favorable position deep inside of Theater, and it's going to be Euphoria playing that long angle with the ACOG. Whiskers peeking around, cutting the spot, Elastic, but finally lays some bullets, will down him and finish him off. 7 seconds remaining. Here comes Whiskers on the push again. Evil Waffle peeking with that SMG 11 will down 1. Whiskers with the melee for the second, and now it's all down to Frenchie. 2 seconds left, no win out on time. Team Canada, a gauntlet run so far on Coastline, up 3-0.
Team Canada realized at one point before Whiskers was able to get back in towards the site. As you saw, those Cool Vibe stairs, I said if you can't cut them down, very retake heavy. That's exactly what happened. Whiskers retook through the Cool Vibe stairs, was able to get back to site without anybody being able to find him. But one thing that went really well in Team Canada's favor there was that even though for the 3rd round in a row we saw them down numbers, their anchor play and being able to stick it and correctly read where the push is going to come from has saved them every single time. Now, with Hookah, it's not as common to see teams go to one area over another versus, you know, the double bars, where we saw the plan on double bars in round 2. That's usually where you're going to be planning unless you're planning inside of the blue bar. With Hookah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Yeah, it is the default plant spot. It's behind that bomb, just by the wall across from the pool table.
Bombs from being defused by attackers.
You saw for just a second there, Evil Waffle started to destroy the wall with his shotgun, which allowed the Rook to be able to play the long angle all the way down towards where you knew the push was going to come from. And because Focons was a little bit behind, it cost his team about 15 seconds for them to be able to get there. And as you said, coalesce to start your execute. You tagged in the Zofia of Elastic, and he ended up in a bit of a calamitous shootout with Whiskers in which they both missed most of their shots, but the carbine of Jaeger ended up working out in the long run. And then for Team Canada, it was just simply, you know they're going to come through one doorway, they don't have time, there's no destructive capabilities. It's a pretty easy hold unless they win their gunfights against you and they don't know where you are, but you're going to know where they are, and that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, I think what you said last round, it's a bit unusual to see the defense now currently up 3-0. The only site, as we note so many times, that you should be winning with any great reliability on defense is Kitchen. And because it's been 3 rounds, they're back on Kitchen on defense now. So this could be another win put in the column for put in the win column there for Team Canada, and end up being 4-0. That's a pretty good number, even if you do lose that 5th round to come out of the split with 3 or 4.
Team Canada flexing their bag of tricks. It'll be Jarvis rotating upstairs. The first attempted topside clear on a bottom floor defense for Jarvis, or anyone on Team Canada for that matter. Everyone seemingly trying to keep everyone on their edge, but no, it'll be Frenchie from the rooftop that'll dispatch of Jarvis. So there goes that ever-powerful Nitro Cell. We've seen him flex a couple times so far tonight. An early drop of a roamer, that hasn't really been the issue for Team Canada. You lose a man, but it's the anchor play that has been so demonstrous for Team Canada so far. And Elastic just trying to work on the aim training right now, make sure the jitters aren't getting to him too hard, as everyone on the Grizzlies really need to expedite their attack. Their top clear and their map control off-site is fine. It's that conversion to a site push that is slowing them down and really the crux of their attack right now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how much damage Purple was able to do on this site before, or on bars before playing above. And of course, the Buck being up top, using this entire floor, which is completely destructible to his advantage, is incredibly advantageous for his teams. He came just a second away from seeing Peng, but looked at the wrong time from his perspective, and could have possibly been able to pick up a free kill there on the Maestro through the floor. Of course, they can't see the outlines, but we can, and oh no, Purple! You gotta win those. Euphoria takes out Purple, but at least Focons is there to trade him out. And of course, the Thermite, who's been putting in good work to be able to get the frags he needs, it's his utility that is more crucial. And the thing with this, as long as they have a smoke available, which they do right there, they've got 2 smoke grenades on the Jackal, you can pull off an execute on Kitchen very fast once you manage to open up one of the walls. But it actually looks like Dark is going to use a smoke grenade maybe to cut off a push onto Focons, as he's going to be vulnerable for a second here getting the exothermic charge down.
Dark and seemingly completely unaware of Whiskers laying down behind the planter right around the corner from his double doorway for the Sunrise. And you also have the incredible anchor power. A wide peek now from Pang, not going to land any shots, but enough to scare him back. Trading blows now, and it's Pang coming out worse for wear. First shot Fade gets detonated into the bathroom, but you still have Whiskers awaiting Darken to edge up a little bit closer. Wide peek in behind the cubby, and he just establishes a tiny pixel angle to dispatch of Pang, but it's been Evil Waffle with that SMG-11 and shotgun tandem with the Toxic Babes that have been so devastating for Team Canada on their anchor play. Whiskers in perfect spot to go for a plant, but now the plant being initiated, Whiskers is going to finally attain that kill onto Dark and the Toxic Babe, injuring Focons a lot. Go finally down, and Whiskers rushing hallway will grab one with the pistol, but leaves with a waffle, and now down to a 1v1. A wonderful shot into the bathroom, and holding from deep outside is Frenchie on the IQ. Spots the diffuser. Could be a situation where he might just want to stick this, and now Frenchie is rotating to Lambo door, trying to rush in. Can't see him behind the reinforcement, but he'll turn the corner just in time. And Grizzlies establish their first victorious round on Coastline. Ironically, on the most favored bomb site on defense.
Yeah. And this was the 4th round now, where we once again saw Grizzlies with a numbers advantage heading towards their site push. They did a great job of clearing out the roamers here. Now the roam game really just seemed to consist of Jarvis. That was really it from what we saw. You had Whiskers playing by the planter, but I mean, that's close enough to the site that you can kind of put in the anchor column. So they take care of Jarvis, they get the intel gatherer off. You know, he's still going to have his cameras up, he's still going to work the calls. You've also sidelined your, you know, they don't have an IGL, but you've sidelined the one guy who's going to be making those calls. And honestly, that's probably the best person for you to lose, as long as it's not an incredibly valuable utility-based operator, because you've got the guy who can now spend the entire time calling for the team without worrying about his own placement. So that was a benefit, I guess, kind of for Canada in the early loss. But finally, we see Grizzlies' hard work paying off. They executed very well. They realized they didn't need to consume that much map control. They had it once they got rid of Jarvis. I think they were a little worried and apprehensive as to where Whiskers was, because I don't think he ever got droned out playing at the bottom of those stairs. So you've always got to keep in the back of your mind, we know where 3 of them are. We have no idea where the 4th one is. I mean, you should be able to drone out most of the map in the first 2 minutes for a well-coordinated team. You shouldn't have any doubts as to where somebody is. You might lose them on the drone, because you do drone them out, but then they move in and you just find them later on. I don't think Whiskers got spotted one bit, and he managed to snag a kill right away after they started to pull off the execute, but he got gunned down and traded off after that. Left it once again in Evil Waffle's hands. He got clock just struck an inbound and he wasn't able to pull off another move.
Biggest thing for me on Grizzlies for that attacking round was everyone being in a proper position to push with at least 35 seconds left. That is something we haven't seen from Grizzlies all night so far. It's been these last 20-second, 10-second pushes into the objective. This time around, they breached into service and had 3 members covering for the plant while the plant was being initiated with 20 seconds left. It's a much more expedited take from Grizzlies, and it nets them a win on the round. Now heading to Blue Bar and Sunrise Bar, Team Canada to round out their defensive side lest we go overtime on Coastline. Overtime, again, a possibility after we go through a whole season of best of ones without overtime. Overtime reintroduced in the best of 5 series. So possibilities for maps to go extremely long on the distance, possibility of 13 rounds. And again, we see this expansion of the horizontal defense from Team Canada, not electing to really send Jarvis upstairs on that roam. They're going to allow Grizzlies to take that top pressure, but it's been that incredible anchor play so far that has kept Team Canada on top.
You heard it. I don't know if you heard it, but for just a second, the pop of the Valkyrie camera. They know how many gadgets Team Canada is running, so Grizzlies responded by bringing this IQ. This is the second time now that we're seeing Frenchie play the IQ. I think a good trade. The Capitale was mostly doing drone clearing and roam clearing work. So yeah, 2 or 3 rounds of IQ now, I think is a pretty good opportunity to find all these gadgets. And you know with this play with SK, how good they are at keeping that information. The way they use those Maestro cams, the way they use their echoes if he goes unbanned, same with Valkyrie. And it's so powerful that you need to be able to bring that hard counter, which is what you have in the hands of the German operator. So Jarvis and Focons, just a brief shootout inside of the main doorway, just playing by reception desk. Jarvis was giving Focons a little bit of a reflex test, and neither of them landing any bullets.
Playing a little bit of peekaboo behind the Lambo desk, but neither of them landing. And a minute remaining now. We're still in a 5v5. It's a much better position for Team Canada than we've seen them in. And also, once again, Grizzlies falling back on their old ways of, again, having that top control upstairs, having that map, but not having the conversion towards a site push. I imagine they're going to try and replicate the same near success they had the last time attacking this with breaching open the Sunrise entrance wall and trying to facilitate a plant inside the Shroud of Smoke. But last time around, it was Evil Waffle with the 4K on the SMG-11. They're going to have to watch out for him and try and pin him down. I'm impressed that everyone from Team Canada has evaded the pressure. Lots of aggressive peeks now from Peng outside that entrance window from inside of Sunrise towards the the Blue Bar window. 30 seconds left, and it's going to be a 5v5 shootout on the objective. Grizzlies do not look like they're in a good position to push.
No, you've still got Purple here just watching flank hold. Peng will be able to put that LMG to good use, takes out Frenchie, and he's still in a position to greet anybody should he see another body and come that direction. Grizzlies will grab their first kill, almost a team kill as Purple takes out Jarvis, but Toxic Babe is going to choke off Focons once again. He seems to be able to get free and clear of the Toxic Canister, but Euphoria and Whiskers are there. Focons still going for the plant. He's the only one incredibly vulnerable, and Team Canada puts 4 in a row in terms of kills, and that will be their 4th round. They'll take the first half, 4-1 on defense, most remarkably, and now they'll be on the side that a lot of people consider to be, more favorable. The attack. So let's see if they can run it up, or if Grizzlies can be just as formidable as we just saw from Team Canada.
You see Frenchie leading the pack on Grizzlies with 6 frags so far, but it's the depth from Team Canada really that seems to be the difference maker, and Evil Waffle leading the charge in that fact. And an explosive retake that time around from Team Canada on the Blue Bar, and clearly a little bit surprised by the swap up. Everyone from Grizzlies seemingly positioned to try and reattempt that Sunrise entrance take, and then on the last second switching on a dime to go for the Blue Bar take in through office, and yet everyone holding their plant. I mean, just everyone losing their gunfight. It came down to individual gunfights. Grizzlies had Blue Bar control, they had flank watch, they had plant cover. Everyone just losing their gunfight. There aren't many rounds in the highest level of competitive Siege where it comes down to just gunfights. That one did, and Team Canada just, again, flexing their superiority in that specific aspect.
Yeah. I mean, there was good coordination from Grizzlies. I think they came up short in a couple rounds. You know, if you're going off of rounds that probably should have been won, we're looking at a 3-2 scoreline, and you can flip a coin as to which side is going to have the 3 and which is going to have the 2. So ultimately, I think that Grizzlies definitely can hang here, and it's, you know, unfortunately, they're going to be fighting against the rising tides, just simply going against the attackers, which is always more problematic, especially on Coastline. When they attack Kitchen, you've got a couple tools at your disposal. You look at Team Canada's lineup right now, you've got Peng on Blackbeard, that's not much of a surprise. You've got Euphoria on the Sledge, it's going to fulfill the role of the Buck upstairs, and I'd imagine that they're probably going to use Whiskers for more linear play. A lot of times, especially on Coastline, you'll see teams that'll run a Zofia and then she'll, throw the breaching charges on her, and she can do what a Buck can do to a slightly lesser extent. But I imagine you'll have Euphoria do that. And I mean, you've got one set of frag grenades as well, which if you can burn out Frenchie's ADSs, which will likely be in the hands of, I would guess probably Hibana with the 3 flashbangs and then the Zofia as well. can get pretty good value out of those frag grenades. So with Grizzlies' setup downstairs, you saw there was a lot of soft destruction. They'd opened up that kitchen wall. They're probably going to play a very off-site heavy style, and that's exactly what we see. You've got two bodies up the stairs. You've got both the Legion as well as the Jaeger, and that's exactly what we expect from teams here trying to keep that map control over by Penthouse.
Yeah, stark contrast to the way Team Canada were attempting to play. This was already making his way into Penthouse by big window behind couches. The default plant spot upstairs. Euphoria with a nice one tap onto Elastic. That's the Legion dispatch. Less than a minute into the rounds, not a lot of utility utilized. You hear the dumping of the lifeline from Whiskers into clear the ABSs, and that'll most likely preempt Frenchie to dip out of his previous position at the top of the theater stairs in cover with Elastic. He lost his roam partner and probably not feeling too confident trying to solo hold against 3 descending attackers from Team Canada. And the pressure constricting the throats right now of Grizzlies on site, but Frenchie able to battle back. He doesn't evacuate his position, and in a second one through the slit of the couch behind the bookshelf, aiming in for a third, angling in, dumping many, many shots into the depths of Penthouse, but not landing any on the last remaining attacker on that top push. You see the rest of Team Canada now coming in for support, a frag grenade landing just shy, and Frenchie still holding his ground, unafraid of taking this battle.
Oh, getting the down on the third as the frag grenade sails on by, but this might not be a kill confirmed here for Frenchie. You're going to have to get Jarvis to tag in and essentially try and get his immobilized teammate up, back from the dead with 50 HP. This is the same that we always see from Grizzlies. They manage to get 2 big kills. They give themselves a numbers advantage. You know, you're looking at a 4v3 right now for Grizzlies, and they've got time on their side, frankly. They can just kind of hold off. I mean, you've got mostly just fragging potential for Team Canada now. You know, the IQ's obviously going to be able to spot the gadgets, sure, but you've got Euphoria using 1 grenade. He's going to just try to go for soft destruction, and the Blackbeard with killing potential. There's still a lot more gadgetry available on Grizzlies' side of things.
Frenchie still refusing to rotate back towards the objective, holding an angle inside of luggage. Jarvis pre-firing will trigger a Legion mine, and sound cue will most likely preempt Frenchie to maneuver closer and closer to the top of those theater stairs. The evil eye from Dark and spotting out Pang, pressing in towards the path of the doorway. Euphoria waiting for the shots to come through, but Focons on the impact of the wall, and Frenchie with a third. It's all up to Jarvis now as he downs purple inside the objective. He's going to have to go for a rush through. He's able to clean that one up, and he's got descending defenders all around him. Doesn't even have the diffuser inside a main lobby. Frenchie gets the 4th. Grizzlies trying to run it right back. Still down 4-2. They get their first successful defensive win on Kitchen.
Frenchie breaking double digits on the back of a 4K in that round. Incredibly well done. And I think the right call, if you really look at it, the right call is for that Jaeger to have evacuated, as you had said. And I think that it's pretty sensible. You know, you've got you got the enemy at the gates. They're right in front of you. They're inside a Penthouse. You're lying prone in theater. You just lost your teammate in Elastic playing on that Legion outside of the door. You know they're coming. But he persisted, and he got rewarded. I don't think they knew he was there. They tried to hit the tight shot, but he was already in that angle. It's very difficult to line that up when you know that Frenchie's got his sights trained exactly on where you are. And not only the switch to the IQ, but now also the Jaeger. You've got good guns in his hands. You've got fragging potential on these operators. You know, you're going to put your gadgets down and then just let him go out kill. And right now, you've got 2 rounds that are won solely off of his back.
And defuse bombs.
Very headstrong play to remain and not run and play it safe. And honestly, when you're down 4-1 on the defensive side of the coastline, you might want to try and take those aggressive plays. It works out that time around, but I imagine Team Canada will be reading into that in the future. Going to be expecting Frenchie at every turn. Now a hookah defense. Not taking the Team Canada game script of heading to Blue Bar and Sunrise Bar as their secondary. They'll like to head to hookah. And clear avoidance here of Penthouse and Theater, the former system primary, but now hookah seems to be coming into the fold a lot more. Like you said, there's that 1 default plant spot behind the bomb inside of billiards, and other than that, you've got to go for a full site domination to have any kind of clear coverage for a plant anywhere else.
Yeah, the map control that you need on hookah is you basically need to try to hold cool vibe stairs, which can be tough to do, while also holding hookah and planting inside of billiards. If you can sequester the defenders to the back of hookah, or even towards the pink side of billiards, then you've got a pretty good hold on that. And then you usually just need a claymore or 2 in positions that are often difficult for the attackers or defenders to be able to get rid of, rather, barring, you know, an impact grenade. Because, of course, a lot of roamers that will keep impact grenades, possibly a Vigil, possibly an Alibi, even Legion if he's playing off-site. you're going to use that impact grenade to possibly take out the Claymore and deny the ability for the attackers to keep you away from the site. So there are a couple things at your disposal here for the attackers to make this work. As for the defense at Grizzlies, they're going to bring a Castle for the second time around. Now, interestingly enough, Castle sees a lot of play on a number of maps. He's standing right now at about a 20 to 30% pick rate in most of the high levels of competitive play. He's very site dependent, he's very map dependent. Essentially what you're going to do here is you're going to elongate that site. You're going to keep the area just by Aquarium inside of the fold. You're going to castle that one off. You're going to make it very difficult for them to be able to get there and then just simply try to be able to work their way onto those castle barricades, usually with some soft destruction. And if they don't have the utility to do that, well, you're going to kill a lot of time.
Once again, Grizzlies emulating their previous Rome game. It was a little shocking to see how stagnant they were and how resistant they were to anything else happening. But triggering the first Legion Mine will be Pang, and we approach the midway point in the round once again in a 5v5 as compared to the complete run up the score from Frenchie last time. You still have Elastic playing this punch hole from top of the theater stairs, but Frenchie has abandoned him. Now it's Elastic left to fight alone. Lots of bullets coming into the soft wall, and he looked like he wanted to jump for a moment, but will now duck in behind the vase. Frenchie on a flank will take down Jarvis downstairs, and Evil Waffle losing a handful of health in the process as well. And Elastic, once again, 60 seconds remain. He'll finally rotate back down to the bathroom inside of Kitchen and hit his rotate back up Cool Vibe stairs. So Team Canada still distracted by this Rome game, ineffective in clearing it out, and with 50 seconds remaining, they're going to have to try and facilitate a site push down a man, low on HP on their side, an easy lockout potential here for Grizzlies.
Most worrisome for Team Canada, though, they do find a kill, take out Focons. Castle is gone, but I mean, the Castle's not going to be as big of a factor on the team outside of just having a pretty average gun in the UMP. But more worrisome for Team Canada is the fact that Jarvis is down. Their only set of smokes is gone. We've got both Waffle and Whiskers, both very low on HP. Waffle's going to try to burn through those ADSs as the toxic canister goes off in front of him, and he'll confront that yellow smoke as he backs off. You can see he is just a heartbeat away from death, and he's staring down an Evil Eye. He's going to try to take care of it.
10 seconds left.
And you've also got Whiskers coming in, but he'll get picked off. Excellent position for Grizzlies as they just collapse on them. And Peng twisting in the win, 2 in a row for Grizzlies, and they are narrowing that gap. They're only 1 round away, and the defense, despite all odds, is winning more often than you'd imagine here on Coastline.
Well, ironically, it is also the mirror image of not the Grizzlies Team Canada game from Week 1 on Coastline, but the Grizzlies Mirage game from the last game of the regular season on Coastline, where the defense was victorious 8-2 compared to attack. A very shocking scoreline as far as the Coastline is concerned, where typically you're seeing that in the inverse for the attack. I don't think the bans really have anything to do with it. I think it really is just the play style. Both teams very slow on the attacking side. I would say Team Canada are actually much worse off than Grizzlies as far as their roam clear. They've been stalled out multiple times and lost a myriad of members of their teams. So much utility, time, and manpower dumped into attempting a roam clear and never even making any progress on it. Versus Grizzlies, who, while they didn't have to clear out roamers themselves, they again had that same problem of converting to a site push. The same problem Team Canada has on their attack right now. Both teams need to expedite their attacking side of Coastline. Right now things are trending towards an overtime for map number 1.
Overtime always exciting, and I mean usually when you have a very one-sided map in terms of sides, whether attack or defense, you always kind of hesitate when you go to overtime because as exciting as it's going to be, a lot of it will rest in the hands of that coin flip. That's it. It is your god, and it will determine whether you live or die based upon the map.
Yeah.
I do hesitate to say, but for the most part, when teams usually do very well on defense, and you aren't seeing very many attacking victories, regardless of whether the map is more attack or defender favored, a lot of that really plays into the depth of strats that you have.
Yep.
You really need to be able to have your attacks down pat in order to win. And I mean, if you're pugging it, you're usually going to see the defenders win more often than not because it's difficult for you to be able to find your footing with those attacking strategies. You know, there have been a number of matchups between teams in best of 3s and best of 5 series. Not so much in best of 5s because typically in best of 5s the best team always wins. But in best of 3s, if you win the map ban system and you end up taking them into a map that they're not comfortable on, you can end up taking a victory on that. You often find that their lack of comfort, they'll typically do better on defense, just because they are not as well prepared. Their attacks will be floundering, etc. And for that last round in particular, Team Canada's roam clear was really ineffective. They wasted an awful lot of time trying to narrow down where Grizzlies was, and a lot of that does go to the fact that, as I mentioned, Hookah, you need a lot of map control, and if you can't get it, it's really gonna, it's really gonna hurt your actual push onto the site when you got to do it.
Bomb located by attackers.
Well, 2 maps banned out as we only again have a competitive map pool of 7 maps, and when you have a best of 5, you only get 1 ban per side. It was Oregon and Bank taken out, most notably 2 of the strongest maps for Team Canada over the last 2 seasons combined. They've only dropped 1 game out of 6 on both of those maps, and that was Oregon, the game they lost season 1 without Foxay while he was in Valencia. So very strong bans coming out against Team Canada. Their coastline has been pretty strong in the past 2 seasons, but honestly, it's shocking to see how timid they are. Typically, Team Canada a much more aggressive team on the attacking side, and yet they seemingly just, I don't know, they don't have their mojo with them right now. And it's also inverse to see them on LAN as well. Both of the LANs we've seen them on, they've been very aggressive, very hyper in their plays, and that is just not the case tonight.
Yeah, quite a lot of restraint here, and Whiskers gets a blessing as he manages to outduel Frenchie, and you've taken an important operator off the board, but also Grizzlies' best player so far on Coastline. That will at least kind of cushion the blow that we saw earlier on when one of Jarvis's smoke grenades got eaten by the ADS inside of Penthouse, and that obviously is going to slow down the push of the glass to be able to drop to that hatch and be able to take the lane away from above. But as I say that, Focon's fall, Jarvis snipes him away, and he's got some smoke in front of him, as well as some gas for 45 seconds. Well, he's using soft destruction on that wall, and, he's got the yellow outlines in front of him should he end up seeing one of them. That's an easy pick-off, and Jarvis, of course, no slouch with his shot. But the big question here is what's going to happen with Elastic? Oh, he's going to take down one, but he won't live too long. It's going to be all up to Purple, who does grab a kill on the Waffle, but he'll get finished off by Jarvis, and that will be Team Canada on match point. They really needed to pick this up here and not end up getting tied up 4-4, not just numerically, but I think more than that, demotivator would have been a tie. So.
Yeah, taking that 4-1 lead heading into the second half to have Grizzlies run it right back to a 4-4 scoreline, that would have probably been exceedingly demoralizing for Team Canada. Now pressing themselves to the precipice of a victory on map number 1, and I don't know, it looked pretty good there for Grizzlies there. They will have the ability to rotate back down to Kitchen, though, on their site. So like I said, game script lending its favor to an overtime after Grizzlies were successful on both Kitchen and Hookah, and they have the opportunity to head to both of those sites in consecutive rounds to round out regulation. Heading to overtime, like you said, I think the coin flip is going to be the end-all be-all for who wins this map, unfortunately. The most interesting thing about it, though, is that the defensive side has been most favored as far as wins and losses, yet it is an attacker-favored map by nature. So could see a flip of what we've seen so far. Should we get to overtime, but right now Team Canada looking for a lockout. Maintaining the same 5 operators as they're probably anticipating heading back down to attacking the Kitchen. And once again, it's just got to be an expedited attack. They have to increase their efficiency on every single aspect and not get so caught up on the roam clear. Either be more efficient in securing the kills or simply avoid it. There are plenty of other takes when you know there are multiple members of the defensive side off-site on an opposite roam. Your Sunrise take would be your number 1 option. You have one flank hold and it's over, and you can rush in through that kitchen door. On the Sunrise side, you have multiple members investing utility and manpower off-site.
It's really interesting what Focons is doing upstairs inside of Hookah, and I'm glad that we had Handsome catching that for us on Spectator. He barricaded off every single door from here till the peripheral, and then gave himself an impact hole, 2 impact holes rather, and he still has an armor panel available. So I don't know if he's anticipating that he can drop it when he gets possibly pinched, but I mean, that armor panel here could go quite a ways, especially when you're looking downstairs at Kitchen. There's a number of doors that you can use, doors and windows rather, that you can use those castle barricades on. And I mean, he might end up dying with it here as he drops through the hatch, and he's gone. He's still got both of his impacts left, so actually those rotate holes must have been made from elastic. And there you go. He's going to consolidate. That's a good strategy here from Focons, wasting a lot of time, and once again going to commit Team Canada to using this utility.
Well, Focons firing in, springing up from the depths of the grass was Frenchie and taking a handful of bullets for it, but backing off and keeping his life intact, a little below 25 HP as he escapes to blue bar to join Focons in the double roam. An impact grenade came out from Focons on a typical rotate between blue and hubby inside of Sunrise, and that was used to dispatch of Euphoria. There goes that sledge, that big proponent for taking down the castle barricades, but just a poorly timed rotate there from Focons, just seemingly forgetting about the call that Whiskers was holding the Sunrise door, and he'll sacrifice his life for it. Frenchie pretty worse off as far as the health count goes as well. One errant shot from the glass of Jarvis could end his reign.
I don't think Evil Waffle droned the Jaeger. I don't think he saw Frenchie. I think Frenchie rotated right as Evil Waffle's drone went in. They might be completely blind here on intel. No, there you go. Evil Waffle will finally catch Frenchie and harass him over and over again. But if there's a push through those double doors, he's going to get caught out. But no, it's Jarvis there, able to do the work from outside. He picks off Frenchie, and just a minute to go. There's still one body playing just outside of Kitchen. That's going to be Elastic, prone by the planter. And he's going to pop right up, and he's going to take Whiskers down. Evil Waffle's not too far off, but if he's unable to catch Elastic, who is now headed back upstairs, we'll probably go for that rotate that we saw from the castle earlier to drop over on the office side of first floor. This could be a very easy hold for Grizzlies, as we don't know what the drone count is for Team Canada, but they could be blind for most of the final 30 seconds.
Well, these Evil Eyes are going to stand tall and do a lot of work in tandem with the Toxic Bases. You lost your Sledge and your Sophia. That's all your soft breach gone to take down this seemingly very obvious. You see Evil Waffle trying to utilize the X-Kairos on the wall behind him. Not sure if that'll land on the hard surface and dispatch the Evil Eye. It will take it down with the explosion radius and tagging the teammate of Purple down to about 5 HP on the vault back in. See Peng make it into the kitchen window, laying in shots for the plant cover now. And you still have to worry about Elastic on the roam game. Now pressing through, Jarvis is going to drop Purple as he tries to rush through. Elastic on the double flank though. There he goes. The defenders went on time. Dropping the plant down. It was just Peng left alive. Grizzlies live to fight another day on Coastline, trying to extend this to overtime.
I don't know how much of that strategy that was set up that we saw upstairs inside of Hookah as well as Billiards was designed for what Elastic just did, but boy, is that a 200 IQ type of play. To be able to get the rotate holes in, to be able to get the hatch inside of office, using all of that, and then you have the Legion be able to come back on that late flank, and it did definitely look like they were blind on info. They had no drones set up, there wasn't a Claymore to be had from them. As you mentioned, they'd lost the Zofia, and you know, you've got a Blackbeard, you don't really have a Claymore there. You've got a Blackbeard watching a window, but he's too busy engaged in a fight with the Maestro. There's nobody watching your rear, and maybe there was, and they just simply lost that fight. But single-handedly carrying the round is the Legion of Elastic, who just managed to evade them after he got the kill onto the Zofia and then just flew as far away as he could. Now, still match point in Team Canada's favor. Jarvis on an Ash, and we're going to see Whiskers run with a Ying, so this is going to be very interesting. A lot of headaches in Grizzlies' near future here, as of course, what better to capitalize off of everybody being blind than, of course, an Ash to rush in and kill them all. So we'll see what they can do. I mean, I'm curious as to why Jarvis went with the Ash, because it seemed like the Glaz was doing its job. It looked like for Team Canada, a big part of what Jarvis was doing was just being able to eat up lines of sight, forcing you to have to be pinned down because you know you can't take that engagement because there's a Glaz there who's just going to destroy you on the other side of it. And that pressure is now essentially gone. You're going to have the Blackbeard play that same way, but you know that's not how Peng usually uses the Blackbeard. He's much more aggressive.
10 seconds left.
Well, Team Canada initially heading into the second half of the chokehold on map number 1 of Coastline. Now a hotly contested battle going the distance in regulation. Round number 10 going to be the defensive side of Grizzlies on Hookah. Try and survive and stave off elimination of round number 1, map number 1, and send themselves into overtime where possibly a coin flip could be the savior for them. Ultimate comeback possible for them, and the most depressing part of that entire last round was Elastic was droned behind that planter, still popped up, killed Whiskers, and made it away on the great escape for the wonderful flank. So descending in upon Hookah, once again, Team Canada showed excellence on their acceleration of their attack towards Kitchen. They had that plant potential and Darkin taking almost the entirety necessity of damage to drop him, and now he'll get reset by Focons. Looked like it was on the shot descending from the rooftops. Purple as well, taking a lot of damage on those cool vibe stairs from the rooftop angle. So everyone from Grizzlies overexposing themselves here, and it's not a good start to keep themselves in this.
Still one armor plating left for the defenders, and you know that Darkin is one of the people with the Rook armor because, well, he just got reset, not through a wall. Of course, for those of you unaware, if you're wearing Rook armor and you get shot, as long as it's not in the head, you can get reset from your team. It is a down, not an instant kill. So obviously a good move for Grizzlies as they're able to get Darkin back from essentially the dead after he sustained all of that damage. Now, as for Team Canada's play, it looks like they're going to probably try and push onto Aquarium here. At least That's the way that they're currently setting up. They're in the midst of a rotate halfway through the round, and they're not going to be able to all make it as the Ying goes down. That is a critical first kill for Grizzlies.
So Repel on the Aquarium balcony. Focon's trying to go for 2 here. Keeping his team in this. Lots of pre-fires bouncing up and down, bobbing his head, weaving back and forth. In behind that bar, the Evil Eye dispatching of the drones to make sure they can't acquire and ascertain the information on Focon's position. Here go the shots back and forth. You can see it's Euphoria right now, just barely exposing his head. Focon's landing the shot. Now Peng peeking in as well with that face shield. Focon's with 3! Angling in towards Luggage, trying to go for the 4. You got the flanking behind, but Focon's! The never-ending reign of terror with the ACOG MP5, and it's all Peng alone now on the Repels of Blackbeard in a 1v5. All signs point to overtime and the run back from Grizzlies.
Holy hell, Focon's alone. Not just with the reset, but also absolutely unmovable inside of Aquarium. I don't know if he has diffuser down or not. It's sitting outside on the balcony, but that might not be information that is readily known to him if he has not seen it with his own 2 eyes. Oh, Focon's the ace! Peng drops, and every single one is going to go to the IGL of Grizzlies, patiently waiting. He was reflex tested earlier, and he didn't do so well against Jarvis, but he's all warmed up this time around, and of course, how fitting. He gets all 5 kills, and then they'll pick up their 5th round, and we're going to go to overtime.
Coin flip landing in the favor, as far as the way this game has gone, in the favor of Grizzlies. Defensive side in overtime for at least 1 round. Should they lose this and then lose their attack, then that's going to be a 7-5 victory for Team Canada. But the way things have gone so far tonight, this is looking swell for a Grizzlies comeback victory. Victory snatched from the jaws of Team Canada. A 4-1 chokehold lead heading to the attacking side of Coastline. It looks like it was all but over. Incredible resiliency from Grizzlies to run this back now to level things 5-5. Send us into overtime. Jarvis 6-picking off the Ying back to the Glaz. So returning to the favorable
Attackers
form
need to
now
locate
is
and
Jarvis
defuse
to try and propel this team back into the winning form they had to start this map. The momentum, everything was on their side to begin this, and it's all crumbled around them now. Grizzlies 2 rounds away from definitively throwing it back in the face of Team Canada and taking the very first map off them at land.
Yeah, right now Team Canada sitting 5-0 on land maps, so obviously for Grizzlies, everybody wants to break that streak. See, Northern Alpacas couldn't do it, STDX couldn't do it. Can we see Grizzlies possibly do it? That's going to be the big question. Typically, we would say, well, it's unfortunate that Grizzlies has to defend twice. But after a 4-1 defensive showing from Team Canada, you match it with a 4-1 defensive showing from Grizzlies, and now you have 8 victories for the defenders in a map that usually they struggle to pick up more than 3, possibly 4. So that is a storyline for another day. What we're looking at right now is, I think you said, floundering for Team Canada. And I don't know how much of it is necessarily floundering. Their attacks have looked very weak, especially as you mentioned that they were known for that unbridled aggression. They're a team who are very quick to get in, to get the information, to get their drones in the right order, and then execute upon that. Whereas, in all reality, they've just kind of fed themselves to the same couple members from Grizzlies. You have 2 great individual rounds from Frenchie. Then you have Elastic coming in, no info whatsoever to the Legion. And then, of course, you have Focon's, who is just indefatigable inside of Aquarium, and there's nothing you can do to slow that man down. That's 4 of the 4 rounds. The 4 victories that you saw from Grizzlies there were just incredible individual performances. And I mean, yeah, it's hard to win a round when somebody's that fired up, but you'd imagine that with a team that's usually as good to be able to get their information available. And I mean, it will be provided there to Peng. All those poke holes in the wall, then they have to take down Elastic. And the Legion's goo mines will die with him. That is an unfortunate operator to lose early on.
Mirror image so far of the first attacking round Canada had, where the dispatch of Elastic within a minute of the round beginning. But Frenchie not going to stand and fight as he did previously when he amassed that 4K to win Grizzlies their first defensive round. He's going to bail out immediately, making the smart move. As we eclipse the midway point in our first overtime round, Frenchie is now evacuated to the CCTV hallway, and everyone from Grizzlies abandoning their initial post The big difference being that this is not a kitchen defense, this is a hookah defense. And Frenchie coming in for this devastating flank through luggage could be the end all for Team Canada. We saw last time there was no drone info on a flank when attacking kitchen. Same thing goes for their hookah take. It was a poor execution into Aquarium with no real flank vision. This time the drone's going to be pinging out Frenchie at the bottom of the theater stairs inside that doorway to CCTV. And you see two silhouettes of Team Canada attackers making their way, ever wary of that flank coming through from the devastating 416. Ooh, a bad sacrifice of the Evil Eye, but Peng with a TK onto Euphoria. Jarvis, thankfully, will establish the headshot onto Focons, so at least keep their man advantage. But now no one ready to watch that flank for Focons.
Those toxic babes. And it's problematic for Team Canada as they're going to have to go through the rotate hole, likely have somebody's sights trained on it. That could be a huge issue. They're going to see it. Oh no, almost another team kill. Team Canada with 2 fatal blows in this round as Frenchie and Purple double up. And it's all up to Whiskers, who's going to get an impactless frag, and that's Grizzlies coming out of nowhere for the first time. The French are going to sit on match point, 1 round away from taking the first map off of Team Canada.
Team Canada had the 4-1, then the 5-3 lead. At that point, having 2 opportunities to close out map number 1 in a definitive fashion and push us to the second map, already up 1, now on the brink of losing their first ever map on land. Gracefully, though, they will, or mercifully, sorry, they will, they'll head to the defense now. It'll be up to Grizzlies to try and establish a rare attacking victory. And Blue Bar, Sunrise Bar, the site for Team Canada. Undefeated so far on the objective this evening on Coastline. But you saw last time around, it was Focons getting in for that plant inside of Blue Bar, and everyone on Grizzlies having the positioning necessary, just losing gunfights. If anyone on Grizzlies hit their shot on that explosive 4-man retake into Blue Bar, it goes the other way, and we're already done.
Defenders,
so
protect your bombs from
a fickle site here for Team Canada to choose as their primary and their only shot at defense in overtime.
This is it. This is what it really comes down to, and now the defense winning 9 of the 11 rounds?
Yes.
I mean, the numbers are on your side. The pressure might not be. There's a lot of sloppiness from Team Canada there. Probably one of the sloppiest rounds that I've seen from this team and this squad. You got Peng getting a team kill as they get their wires crossed. And then almost getting team killed himself as well from, I believe it was Whiskers.
Yes.
Those are the kind of things that happen when you're a team that is reacting more than acting.
Yep.
And you're trying to react to what's going on. You're letting the pressure get to you. And I mean, it's frustrating because you've come in here as probably the most dominant team in Canadian Nationals. The team that has been basically unstoppable at almost every single level. And I mean, you've got a very good challenger in Grizzlies here. Probably, honestly, the best squad that you're going to be playing against. No, of course, no shade being thrown at Sex Destroy and Northern Alpacas, but Grizzlies has a level of cohesion, at least that we've seen through the second half, that is going to do them quite well. Now, of course, it's a best of 3, so there's lots of maps to go. Or sorry, a best of 5, so they need to win 3 maps, my apologies. So there's lots of maps to go. But you have a good performance so far from Grizzlies, and their attacks have looked a little lackluster. You know, you had Frenchie doing great work on the attack. He's going to be another important and prominent member here as he's back on that IQ, and he's going to be able to try to take that information away from Team Canada, but they're not going to be running with the Valkyrie and actually running with more fragging potential than they do information.
Well, you speak of that, and it's Jarvis who swapped off the Valkyrie role to take an ACOG and take more of the fight himself, and it'll net him the first kill into Frenchie. You have an attacker descending upon him through luggage, but he'll narrowly make the escape down theater stairs into main lobby, hearing a drone trailing him just behind, but it won't spot him, and he makes it to safety. You still have another man from the Team Canada defense upstairs holding out, and the skeleton key shots rattling out, disintegrating the floorboards into the objective. Once again, it's the anchors that are wary, but Evil Waffle's maneuverability that saved them both rounds on this objective.
Yeah, the clutch potential from the smoke, not just as an operator, but also as just a player in general, doing heavy lifting earlier on. He went quiet on attack, quite quiet actually, and I think that was part of the problem with Team Canada, was their individuals shied away, whereas other people from Grizzlies were there to fill that void when Frenchie went down. So prior to Focons' rise to the top here, it was a one-man show for Grizzlies, and obviously now with him down, it's going to rely on Focons, but because it's attack, he's not in a fragging capacity. He's going to be in that thermite, get the wall open, and then possibly try to plant, and maybe die capacity.
Well, Grizzlies seemingly trying to accelerate. keep their pace up from their previous attacks rounds near the end of their first half. He fires in, just missing the side of Evil Waffle's knee, and he's going to bail off of the initial plant. He's hearing the Toxic Babe thrown out. It's not going to land, and now the Thermite Charge being detonated on the right side of the wall, an alteration to the previous strategy. Evil Waffle looking skyward, but here comes the collapse from Grizzlys. Down a man, and they're going to have to descend into the site. The Toxic Babe's choking out any possibility of rushing in for the immediate plant. We have one covering and two attackers from Grizzlys descending to the side window of the A-bomb. Lots of pre-fires being sent in, but you still have Peng holding that side window solo, trying to be the one-man army with the unlimited ammo capacity of the Aldi. He's just going to go for the vault. He grabs one onto Elastic, tries to hit the melee, but Purple will slap him back down. Going in for two now, trying to hold in, laying in shots to the bar, but Evil Waffle will down him back. And it's an Evil Waffle lockout with the SMG-11. Map number one, we're going the distance, 13 rounds on Coastline.
Unshakable. Now 2 rounds, a good sample size here for Team Canada, with Waffle just, what, 7 kills from that one position now.
Yep.
While doing utility work, while keeping his team alive, and then possibly giving calls as well for the rest of the team. So once again, the defense wins. Now you go back to Grizzlys here having a chance to go somewhere else. Now, because Grizzlys won upstairs on Hookah, they're going to be afforded kitchen downstairs, which actually hasn't had the same win ratio as some of the other sites, which is a bit strange and a deviation from the norm, but you still have the fact that you are buoyed by good defensive performances and lots of fragging potential on the defense. And frankly, from Team Canada's side of things, they have not been the most efficient with being able to relay where all the defenders are. That's worked really, really well, and you've seen that Grizzlys have adapted, and they've put more bodies on roam because they know that they can abuse the fact that Team Canada isn't investing in that drone work that needs to be done in order to get the roamers that are playing off-site. So as Grizzlys, I'm assuming, is probably going to put quite as much stock as we saw before in the roam, especially on kitchen. You know, this was a site where Elastic last time around had that great flank and was able to get back towards site with just 10 seconds to go. If you look at Grizzlies' lineup, well, they're bringing the Castle, they're bringing the Legion, they're bringing the same tools they brought the last time they went here. So it's definitely a possibility that that can happen again, even though Team Canada might not find themselves in a situation to have that lethal.
Same operators they took on the attacking side as well towards kitchen, and it was their soft destruction that got removed from play initially. The Sledge, Victoria, and Sophia of Whiskers that fell, leveling at a 3-3 man count. But yes, it was the devastating flank. Here comes Focons again, establishing his maze of wooden barricades up the stairs. Just trying to draw any of the rats in, trying to hunt for the cheese that is Focons. But no one even attempting that last time around from Team Canada. You saw them maybe even hearing what I'm saying, maybe telepathically trying to go for that sunrise push, and it all stalls out and results in a loss in the round. This time around, it looks like Team Canada electing to go for a more clinical top take and then maneuver their way back down after they try and displace a few anchors on the objective. It's once again a vertical roam game, but Peng started things off onto Focons. There goes the rat from his maze, and trying to hit the rotate. Peng on his popular repel with the Mark 17, with a dispatch of him with ease, and now it's just Elastic upstairs in the roam game solo now.
Changing mags!
I mean, you've still got Elastic playing over by Luggage, who can still try and keep control just by the theater. Back wall of that theater on towards the stairs to the main lobby. So you've also got Frenchie up here too. So, I mean, yeah, you managed to take out Focons, but if you want to be able to assemble any type of control over, you know, penthouse or theater, you've got Frenchie in that same spot where he was able to do so much work before. You saw that there was a drone not too far off of him, so this is Team Canada. Hopefully, if you're a fan of theirs, being able to put together the information and plays that are needed to pinch these off-site players, because, yeah, that's 3 bodies of Grizzlies who are not playing on site, which isn't strange necessarily, but will require at least a greater investment on this wall. The biggest problem now that's going to be for the Jaeger is he's going to lose his reinforced wall in front of him as he lays prone, and will basically be in a shootout against the Glaz of Jarvis.
Pings coming through from the drones. You still have Elastic playing the soft wall on the rear side at the top of the theater stairs with a myriad of punch holes in the backside to look through, but not electing to do so right now, knowing there's a Glaz bearing down, and there goes Jarvis to establish a 2-man advantage now. You finally see Elastic peeking his head through, but Jarvis is spraying in through the hallway, mag dumping, and here comes the push of Peng, and it's just going to miss Elastic. He attempts the escape, but Peng guns him down from the top of the stairs. A 5v2 advantage now as they press in towards the objective, and it's just Purple and Darken left on site to hold out.
Purple's going to hear the floor, the ceiling above him just absolutely explode as it's Extreme Home Makeover Edition from Euphoria above. Darken, poised and ready to greet anybody that comes in through that bathroom door. But both he and the Smoke are in a bit of a pickle here now. Of course, Team Canada have only lost a little bit of HP on Peng. He's in the flashing red. But time is still fully on the side. They've got the Zophias, they'll burn the ADSs. You've got frag grenades available. You know, you've got the Blackbears peeking in wide. Will at least give Darken's position away as he's looking for a second. Of course, that Alda in the hands of anybody can chew through multiple operators, but he'll be all alone as Purple goes down. And what can Darken possibly do? Under fire from multiple directions, but the info is in! And take a deep breath, Team Canada. Your record on maps is still perfect. They're going to win the first map on Coastline after a scary set of circumstances.
Well, what a good way to start the best out of 5 in the Canadian Nationals Grand Finals, right, boys?
I mean, hey, it looked like a walkout for Team Canada initially, and then running it back to probably the most interesting game for Team Canada we've seen on LAN, barring the 5-0 comeback on Consulate at the circuit finals against STDX. No choke hands being thrown up this time. That was an insane matchup, honestly. That looked like it was going to be Team Canada's through and through. Easy 6-1 victory, and the resiliency from Grizzlies to pull that back into the second most hotly contested map on LAN that Team Canada have played.
Yeah.
Again, it was the struggling attacks. I think nerves were hitting both teams equally in that matchup. It didn't look like either of them were really prepared. And you see the defense winning out most typically when teams aren't taking an initiative on the attack.
Yeah.
They aren't pressing through with coordinated strategies like Parker said. It's when you can just relax and sit back and play your more standard reserved game, go back to your basics. That's when the defense wins out most typically. And that was a demonstration of a defensive side dominance of fatal errors on the attack.
Well, you guys talked about that. I don't want to hammer it too much, saying that usually Coastline is more attacker heavy, but at this time it was more defensive one. But I think what I wanted to ask a little bit more is that for Grizzlies' end, when they were on the attacking side, they had a lot of numbers advantage to start off the rounds. So how come they fell apart moving into taking over the sites?
I mean, the way you're able to put a successful attack together can be very difficult for a lot of teams, especially if coordination is not there. There was some inadequate drone work, I think, on a number of rounds.
Okay.
And just some circumstances where you should have been able to find people and you didn't. You know, Whiskers, for example, when you go in against Grizzlies, and then you also had Elastic being able to, you know, come back in basically uncontested. That's a problem. And I mean, you've usually got somebody watching cams or watching drones, depending on whether you're on attack or defense. That just didn't seem to be there for Team Canada.
And honestly, the individuality of all these players, I mean, saw so many individual clips where it was one man taking over the round, one man taking over the game. It's a one-man show, and that also comes from teams that don't have a lot of experience playing together. And I would expect that out of Team Canada. Mm-hmm. I would not expect that out of Grizzlies, a team that does practice together quite a lot, a team that is not just assembled for this tournament. This is a team that is assembled to compete in a lot of forays, and the fact that it's the individual nature that's getting the victories for Grizzlies is a little concerning to me, especially heading into more strategic-heavy maps, not where it's attacker-sided. Like, we're heading into defensive-sided maps. We have Clubhouse and then Consulate straight after. Mm-hmm. That's a back-to-back of you need a lot of coordination and cohesion to be able to be successful on those maps. And it's a lot of individual play so far, at least on Coastline, that have been winning out.
I mean, you can structure either a defense or an attack where somebody is going to be tasked with getting the lion's share of your kills. Mm-hmm. It's the way it works. I mean, but a lot of times what we saw there, the strats weren't structured that way. It was just either everybody pushed in the same direction, or you had somebody who just kept rotating endlessly, and there was just no, you know, due diligence done by either the attackers or defenders to be able to find them. You know, on a screen right now, that Focon's 4K, of course, and then the ace as he... It was a 4K to start with, and then he ended up finishing it up with the ace. But I mean, that was just every member of Team Canada peeking him at separate times. Yeah. That was a mistake on Team Canada's part. That wasn't really Focon's excelling given his circumstances. So, you know, those individual performances that Flynn mentioned, let's not forget that there were probably 2 rounds on attack that Grizzlies should have walked away with, but individual performances on Team Canada's side of things stopped them, and that could have very easily, you know, you saw it. It was it went the full distance, that could have been a very easy win for Grizzlies.
I think you guys talked about also the miscommunication in terms of not seeing flankers, so that round where Elastic actually got the 2K at the last seconds to actually prevent a defuse plant from going on and actually getting that round for Grizzlies to move forward. But big shout out there to Frenchie, Elastic, and Ace to put their money where their mouth is. And it looks like we're going to start the second map here on Clubhouse now. So what's good here about Clubhouse is actually that these two teams did quite well throughout the online circuit. Both of them getting a win on Cry6 and on Carlton Ravens, respectively, for Team Canada. And also at this point here for Grizzlies, they actually won here Clubhouse 6-3 against Cry6 and 6-2 against Wheaton North.
Yeah, I mean, Rob touched on it. With Clubhouse being a defender-sided map, you've got tools at your disposal for the attackers. You know, you usually see a Maverick ban. We actually don't. I think that's kind of interesting. Instead, you've got Hibana going off the board here. You know, a Thermite is quite a good pick, but I mean, it's going to deprive you of being able to take out multiple hatches. You're going to have to, you know, to focus your side push differently because you've only got the, you know, the 2 exothermic charges. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a Maverick come out. Like I said, he's usually banned here on Clubhouse. He's a big part of one of the I guess strats that you can use on attack to try and take away the advantage that the defenders have, because you can negate the advantage with all the hatches they have. You can negate the advantage they have with the long walls and the big broad walls too. So, I mean, there you go. Elastic is it looks like Elastic is going to pick him like right off the bat. So, I mean, it's not really much of a surprise to see that. As for the defense, this Team Canada defense has been very, you know, counter punch heavy. I want to say they usually have 2 roamers. The roamers get pinched early. That's usually their focus, and then the anchors lock it down.
Starting out on Clubhouse, it'll be Team Canada on the defense first, with Grizzlies attacking. Pretty standard lineups coming out from either side, and sacrificing one for another in the 6 picks there, but not really losing
Attackers
too
need to
much of
locate
your
and defuse the bomb.
crucial utility. Is now descending downstairs for your primary. Typically, when you ban out that Hibana, you're playing for your Church Arsenal primary, as opposed to if you banned out a Thermite, you'd be playing for your CCTV Cache primary. Alternating back and forth, and not surprising at all to see this here. You see Jarvis 6 pick to the Ella, and the 6 pick from Purple from the Thatcher to the from the Blackbeard to a Thatcher, and it's just going to help facilitate a later push. I don't think really attacking downstairs, you're going to see a lot of Blackbeard solo pushes that really change the tone of the game, unless you're pushing a Blackbeard in through dirt, which is a little old hat. Only having the Thermite and the Maverick available, I mean, you do kind of have to return some old hat strategies.
Attackers
But
are moving out to
the
locate
Blackbeard
a
is
bomb and defuse it.
not as powerful as it used to be back in the day, where in Season 2, Season 3, you could just send him down dirt alone, and he could tank as much utility and bullets as he wanted, and probably dispatch of 2 to 3 defenders.
Yeah. So you don't have a Hibana, you have to deal with those hatches, and while a Maverick is suitable, most of those hatches are not going to be guarded from below, so you don't have to worry about counter fire here. The only thing you might have to keep in the back of your mind is that with the changes to Clubhouse, roaming is a lot more doable now, because you do have the connection between both the Gym Master side of things as well as CCTV Cache that's afforded by that construction now being enclosed. So you can rotate quite well. You can have the offsite players, and that's the pressure that you're going to have to worry about if you're an attacker, because those hatches, unless it's maybe Kitchen Hatch, you're not going to be that vulnerable. And I'm glad we're seeing this here, because what you're doing is essentially putting Euphoria underneath, likely with the impact grenades. He's now going to be able to throw an impact grenade up and blow up an exothermic charge. There's no Hibana, so of course those exothermic charges are extremely valuable. You only have 2 of them. And if you're the defenders and you're able to even get 1, that's a huge sigh of relief, as you know that the attackers have to funnel in through areas that you've created rather than they've created with the hard destruction.
And also just be scared for if you send Elastic in as that Maverick to get the hatch, you've got a man peeking down through the floorboards.
He has no impact grenades, though, so I'm not exactly certain why they did that. There's nobody else on the team that would have impact grenades, so very, very strange there.
Altered strategy there for taking down the hatches with the blowtorch of Maverick, going for the 3 parallel lines. I don't think it's your most efficient utilization of the utility to pop open the hatch. You can see he's almost expended all of his blowtorch fuel. There we go. He's got a canister and a hair left remaining. And typical of a church push. The church wall will now be ignited by the exothermic charge to be dispatched off. And the initial rush through, but Peng with a great double kill on the Nitro Cell, now looking skyward up to the Moto Hatch. Another drop comes in, and Peng going for 3. Lighting up Elastic, Trade Fire comes back, and it'll down him off. One trade back, but they're still down a man, choking on the asphyxiating gas, and Jarvis will pick up another kill onto Frenchie. The push stalled out now by those toxic baits from Evil Waffle. A great job there, dispelling the push through. Elastic on 30 HP, dealing with a punch hole on the ground. That's Whiskers to rip him down with the 416. Purple alone, standing at the main door at the bottom of the main stairs, and nowhere to go really as all the defenders bear in around him. And Jarvis tacking on for a little bit more damage now. A little bit over 50 HP, just trying to hit the melee, but there's 2 defenders swarming up the base of the stairs. Once again, it's a Team Canada definitive first round victory on defense.
I feel like Whiskers has spent about a third of this entire game just on his back prone on defense, just patiently waiting for something to happen and playing the role quite well, especially there inside of blue. But let's not kid ourselves there. Peng completely diffused any possible push that was coming in with that C4. The Bandit C4 has come back in vogue ever since the changes to barbed wire took effect. It's not really much of a surprise. And I mean, the way he was playing that on the church wall, all he did was toss out 1 Nitro Cell and boom goes the dynamite. He picks up a double kill. And yeah, congratulations. Your Thermite was able to get that wall open. And you just lost 2 members of your teammates. You got a Maverick dropping down, absorbing a ton of damage in the ensuing fight with the MP7 of the Bandit. Peng just wasn't able to have the same luck that he'd had moments earlier.
Need to locate and defuse bombs.
But at that point, you've lost a lot of utility. They know exactly where your push is going to have to come from because the only hard destruction that you did was on the hatch over top of Moto and then the back wall of church. So you know that you basically got all of the back of lockers, all by blue, that you don't have to worry about. It's all, you know, you've got 70% of the site that you can sit in very effectively, not having to dread the attackers coming your way.
CCTV cache now, the secondary bomb site. The Hibana ban on CCTV cache not going to be as impactful as it would be for a church arsenal take.
10 seconds to go.
The wall, much more beneficial to be able to pop things open with the exothermic charges as far as real estate is concerned for maneuverability and the ability to peek in. Lots of sight lines established with the exothermic charge up on the wall instead of the Hibana pellets. The Maestro, surprisingly though, 6-picked off of by Jarvis to the Valkyrie. And Maestro, a very typical operator to be utilized to hold the garage rafter stairs. An aggressive play there from Peng inside of the blue stairs room window. Pre-fires up against the window right beside Maverick or Elastic, and he had no clue as he backed off. And now Jarvis returning to the window, and he hits the shot through the barricade. Purple will fall. That's the Blackbeard gone instead of the Maverick now. And easy man advantage established for Team Canada as they continue to descend towards the balcony, and they're trying to re-engage with Jarvis downstairs in the blue stairs room, and weren't really successful in ascertaining that location. A few peek holes now being made by Elastic as he's out on that rappel to avoid being damaged by the Bandit battery taking away his health. Phocons will also head up for the rappel to the rooftops. A minute elapsed now, and it's a good start for Team Canada once again. You lose that Blackbeard, that holding power on the windows, and the ability to take that preemptive peek, especially on land, into the garage rafters. It's a wonderful play there from Jarvis.
It doesn't look like there's much in means of the garage, though, which is what we've seen a lot recently as teams have invested quite heavily in taking construction. That's exactly where that Valkyrie camera that we just saw Evil Waffle playing on is located. So you know that if they're going to push in, you've got an opportunity to possibly take care of them. The hatch that's opened inside of construction, I'm wondering if there's any of it where you might see a C4 get tossed in. Finally, a body from Team Canada will head towards that garage, but the Maverick has fallen off as Euphoria has his gun trained on that opening in the CCTV wall that was created by the Thermite not too long ago. And it's just a holding pattern right now as you see Grizzlies still doing drone work, trying to invest as best they can. And now they're going to try to take construction. But you've got an active Bandit in there, Bandit tricking. That can be a major problem.
Thatcher, you're going to need someone to go below. There's Dark and North Frenchie, and you see the hatch below, and now the Maverick hole from Elastic. Can be able to dispatch a Peng. You still have the Bandit batteries to worry about. Euphoria filling in on the position of the Maverick hole again coming out, but Euphoria will duck away just in time. And here comes Phocons now to light up the wall again with that exothermic charge. very wary of those Maverick holes is Euphoria. Here comes the push now. The Toxic Babe, the first one descended out from Evil Waffle now. Whiskers vaulting back in from his rapid position, recognizing no one pushing. Frenchie will drop Jarvis, and there goes that potential Nitro cell from below. Euphoria standing pat and taking the fight inside of construction, but Elastic will win it out. Down to a 2v4 now for Team Canada. Only 15 seconds remaining. Here come the smoke grenades. Trying to facilitate a plant. Frenchie will drop Whiskers. It's just Evil Waffle alone. And Phocon's rushing through, taking the cash control, and a shot to the wall will end the reign of Team Canada, leveling things up 1-1.
This is a very odd pace, and oh, what a nice shot from Phocon's there, just getting the read that he was playing on red. But man, how do you allow a Zofia to play on one opened exothermic charge wall and kill 3 members of your team, especially when you've got the denial that's coming in from the remote gas canister? I'm very confused as to the way that Team Canada played that, and they just seemingly kept confronting the exact same opponents without any differences whatsoever. No variables. It was just all very rote, and they all fell one by one, even after they got a pretty good opening from Jarvis there. So some of it has to go credit-wise towards Elastic. Obviously, he was able to open up that one tiny peak hole, which is almost completely silent when you seem to be that close range. And then he picked off Peng, if I remember correctly, then almost got the second on Euphoria as well. And then the whole wall fell not too long after. On a second attempt here at CCTV in cash for Team Canada, well, I'd imagine we're probably going to see at least 1 or 2 people play more aggressively inside a garage. They're going to invest in reinforcing those garage walls, so I would imagine that you're probably going to have the Maestro play there. That would be my guess. Likely with an ADS or 2 or possibly even 3, depending on whether the teams want to play that. And then you just keep the Bandit inside of construction. But they're shooting open the walls of construction. I'm interested to see exactly what their play is with that.
10 seconds
Yeah,
to
this
go.
time I'm trying to play for an open defense instead of reinforcing off those walls and having Peng activate Bandit trick them. And possibly an extension towards the west side. It seemed like it was a reactionary maneuver from Grizzlies to go for that construction push. Everyone's stacking for that balcony, the typical CCTV wall to eliminate with the exothermic charge, and yet after losing the Blackbeard, everyone kind of goes for that immediate rotate over to construction, as opposed to sticking with the initial plan. So maybe an extension over to the west side, not the most optimal for Team Canada, as the initial read from the Grizzlies back-to-back rounds now has been stacking towards that balcony. You have Phocon's and Elastic repelled out, attempting to go for the Maverick holes, and Peng's going to bail out immediately. He doesn't want to contest those very silent holes being made at his feet, and the Bandit charges will be taken down for it. Peng's still going to laze in some fire, but only hit 1 single bullet from extreme range onto Elastic, barely taking any damage off him. But now there goes Whiskers, much more powerful weapon, establishing the kill. Lots of shot coming into the windows, and Peng aggressively peeking the CCTV window. Escapes with his life, and Whiskers taking a lot of shots from outside the Maverick hole on the balcony. Wow, long angle in there. Now Frenchie dumping in all of his utility on the lifeline to try and clear out ADSs. Again, remove those Bandit batteries and facilitate a breaching of the wall.
So Phocon's is now going to have to try and evade these holes that have been opened up by the Maverick. They'll be able to get the wall, which is a bit trickier than I think a lot of people expect. Support from Jarvis eliminating the Jackal, and the only set of smokes for Grizzlies will leave them with just raw power here on the other side of things. This wall that was opened up inside of construction is not being watched by anybody from Team Canada. They've fallen back towards red, and of course will not be caught by anybody who looks all the way down that hallway through the open hole. So more of a problem for the attackers to wrestle with, as they're going to need to try to approach it knowing full well that the defenders have opened it up specifically to try and catch them. Now we saw the C4 from Jarvis earlier on, so downstairs he's just going to do all the work he needs to do with that cardiac sensor to try and give information in regards to where they're pushing from, where the attack is actually going to come, and well, he's going to light up that metal bar. That's going to be all she wrote for that.
Well, it was Frenchie who was receiving the damage from below in that UMP fire. Now the cardiac sensor establishing a man, I believe it's purple, inside of Lounge, pressing closer and closer. And as soon as he pulls off, the audio cue will give away Jarvis's location. And he's perfectly content to hold on to this. Purple is going to grab the flanking Whiskers as well. The pre-fire is not going to land from Jarvis, but he backs off and wastes the time. Phocon's, though, tacking onto Peng as they push through construction. And the sight hold falling apart slightly here as they have a 2v2 on the objective and no Nitro cell to worry about from down below. However, Evil Waffle not using a single Toxic Babe yet. will detonate the first one inside of construction with only 20 seconds remaining. It's a bad spot to be in for the remaining attackers of Grizzlies. Focon's handling the diffuser, a wide peek out from Euphoria, and that's just an easy sacrificial lamb there as Euphoria will fall left with their man count, trying to push through. Seconds left, and now Focon's Evil Waffle sacrificing his life as well. The flank coming in from behind from Jarvis is on 1 HP. Trying to press through from Master. The plant being facilitated. The Deagle comes out. Jarvis is able to down off Purple. Next rush through as the plant gets completed, but Jarvis with the 5-7 rushing through. The clutch on 1 HP in a dream from the 3-speed. A wonderful round there from Jarvis, and he'll keep Team Canada's hopes alive as everyone on the site sacrificing their lives on over-aggressive peaks.
A round that in no way, shape, or form should have been Team Canada's.
Nope.
Not at all. Not in any universe should have that gone in Team Canada's way. The Blackbeard just getting outdueled and outgunned by the Pulse at close range, and then Jarvis not even needing to secure the kill. He just runs right over him towards the diffuse plant that's going down, and that's the right call to make in that circumstance. But man, how do you go from a 4v2 to a 1v2 in a matter of seconds? Focon's has just been on fire today with the shots that he's been hitting, and you got to think, you made note of it. 20 seconds left, you still got Toxic Babes in play from the smoke. You can chain them together. They last about 15 seconds. 10, 15 seconds, somewhere in that window, depending on where they end up landing, depending on how close you get to it, because sometimes the hit registration can be a little bit inconsistent. Sometimes you get clipped with it, sometimes you don't.
Protect your bombs from being defused.
Start to
by
chain them
attackers.
together at that point. Throw at Waffle, throw a couple of them out. I mean, you've got that at your disposal, unless he'd used them earlier and we just hadn't seen it. It's a perfect opportunity to just keep making a pathway that Focon's is going to have to run through, taking damage that whole time. And I mean, it doesn't take too long to go from 100 HP down to 0 with those toxic canisters in play.
I think the confidence from the first map on Coastline, Evil Waffle was running rough shot all over Grizzlies with that SMG-11, maybe propelled him to take some more aggressive angles and full-heartedly
10 seconds left
sacrificing his life. And everyone on Team Canada just being bailed out by Jarvis's magnificent play on the retake on the flank as everyone on site just peeks their head out, gets it taken off for it. Team Canada electing to play a little more reserved this time around as they make their second return to the basement. Church Arsenal going to be the objective, and it was Pang's individual nitro cell that was the demonstrous knife in the back against Grizzlies on their first attempt on the site. Pretty sure everyone at Grizzlies is going to be reading for that this time around, and no one's going to get caught off guard. Pang with a much more passive angle now, playing inside of dirt, maybe attempting a bandit trick inside of dirt. That would be mighty ambitious, but spotting 20 drones just coming through momentarily. You also have the thermite charges that are still much more useful to grab the hatches and the church wall. As we saw Elastic, his particular method of grabbing the hatches with the blowtorch, not exactly the most efficient, so he won't be able to pop up in 2 hatches. A nitro cell being aimed towards the drone hole while there's no one there. That was just a waste of utility there, and he'll back off. Maybe an improper sound cue there, as you did see one attacker from Grizzly stacked outside, but nowhere near.
Yeah, I mean, you get thermite there, but I mean, unless he was trying to possibly go for a play onto the bandit, I mean, that would have been spectacular to watch, but after getting that, I'm assuming he used the 1 exothermic charge on the dirt wall. He's got 1 left, so Focon's will need to find his second target. Will likely be that church wall, which is exactly where he's heading. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting thing that we keep seeing from Elastic. I'm pretty sure there's an easier way to open those hatches than do what he's doing. And I mean,
much easier.
Look at that. He's got only 1 left, as you noted. This is him just really wasting it at this point, but oh no. Anywho, from the rest of the team at Grizzlies, they've stacked up at the bottom of the stairs. This is a nitro cell waiting to happen. We saw it from Pang last time around. He burned it a little earlier, so that could have been a good opportunity to maybe hold on to the gadget, but instead he used it too soon. And a good bandit trick though. He'll make up for it. And why are you using the EMP? You don't have any heart destruction left. So at least they'll clear out those bandit wires, but this is much more difficult now as Grizzlies will have to funnel into the few doors that are available to them.
Whiskers once again playing that prone hole, and I don't think anyone really reading this as Focon's takes a handful of damage there, down to below 25 inside of Moto, but like you said, no hard breach left to dispatch, and they're all going to have to file through this Moto door. You see a hot road from 2 attackers from Grizzlies heading towards the blue stairs, and Euphoria just not picking up on this quite yet. You have Whiskers covering, but now Grizzlies again reassessing their positioning. slowly crouching down through those blue stairs, and you still have Focon's the man with the diffuser with no help right now, trying to push into the church door. And this is
against Team Canada. I would imagine there's something nice that we've got lined up as Team Canada will do their very first attack. Now, a Montaigne is usually trotted out to try and take away either dirt or possibly even blue from the defenders, especially dirt in particular. I mean, basically what you do with dirt is you open it up with the thermite charge, you get the Montaigne to go in along with somebody else, you keep going, you're probably going to encounter either an Ella, possibly a Legion Mines, possibly a Smoke. These are all things that Grizzlies have on their lineup.
10 seconds left.
Well, off the top of the map, I talked about how that Blackbeard isn't as powerful, that shield not being able to absorb as much damage as it used to in the past when the old hat strategy was to just send a Blackbeard down, but why not take a shield that can absorb all the damage it wants to in Peng? Not having that rifle capability with the shield on top, but nonetheless, it's still a magnificent pushing force to make its way down the dirt tunnel, and you're going to have purple as that smoke playing in immediately. And here comes the exothermic charge onto the dirt wall on the exterior of the tunnel. And Grizzlies, much mirroring to Team Canada, and probably the most sensible decision is going to be electing to go for a 5 on-site strategy. Again, with these shotgun holes outside of the kitchen hatch, going to try and impact trick as Focon still retains both of his impact nades to dispatch of any exothermic charges heading towards the kitchen hatch. Although in the entirety of the attacking attempts downstairs in the last half, we never really saw anyone even try for a kitchen hatch. It was always the church wall, and that got bandit tricked out last time by Peng. You see Frenchie also mirroring that strategy. So Peng, though, going to start things off as that Monty pushing down dirt, going to dispatch with the smoke, and that's huge as that's your 3 Toxic Babes rid for the late plant delay. And the Montaigne with that pushing force takes a little bit of damage in the process. I'm not sure if it was shotgun out for purple in the engagement or if it was the SMG-11 tagging up the hands in rapid succession, but you lose that plant delay immediately. And Elastic, maybe if he had retained his Grizzlys mines, then maybe there's advanced plant delay there to stop everyone from rushing through the dirt tunnel, but a huge sacrifice early for Grizzlies.
Yeah, you really can't, you can't really overstate how important a smoke is, especially when you're defending this site. Your only real plant denial at this point is going to be the Maestro. That's really it. And then, of course, the other operators that can just simply kill them when they try to go here. So that is a big issue that Grizzlies is going to have to try to manage over the next minute or so. As you can see this Montaigne, as we had noted, now coming through dirt tunnel. The hatch above kitchen is going to blow, or that kitchen hatch rather above the B-bomb site is going to blow. And this is where the real pressure comes for Grizzlies. You basically have to force yourself off of the site. Oh, great toss, and Focons will catch it. But the Montaigne just down and absolutely obliterated by Dark. Peng did not last too long at all. And that's going to be Euphoria now tasked with solo pushing. Jarvis will find Elastic in a 4v2 in a position where Team Canada should be able to hang on here, similar to what we saw from Grizzlies on the very last round. But never count these teams out, as they've been able to string together a big kill or two. And there you go. It's going to start with Frenchie, but pressure from above on Dark as he tries to work around this metal shaft. They're going to have a drop, and there's Frenchie again. He's going to pick up a kill, but Evil Waffle takes out Dark, and it's all up to Frenchie in a 1v2. Plant going down as Euphoria is going to try to cover the thermite of Evil Waffle, who will be vulnerable. He's got the protection of a reinforced wall, and he's going to blow out the rest of it with a nitro cell. Some pings will be available onto Evil Waffle, so at least Frenchie knows where one of the two are. He's going to use that MP7 to good work, take about half of Euphoria's HP away, but the timer is going to be his main adversary. About halfway through the defuse time, and he's still got 2 members of Team Canada to work with. They're both upright, and they're going to go for a couple warning shots through the wall into blue. Exactly where Frenchie is creeping along, but you've got 2 bodies here. Oh, he's going to catch one off guard. Frenchie looking for the Herculean clutch. He still has time! Frenchie gets him down, but he's going to need to get the diffuser. He has 7 seconds to get it. It's really close. Hold your breath, because it's either a heartbreak for Canada or a hero for Grizzlies, but it's Team Canada getting it at the last second. So close, but Frenchie, once again, that timer, the main adversary, and it's just not enough. 6 seconds, not 7.
Like you said, a Herculean attempt there from Frenchie, acquiring both the kills. I'm not exactly sure what Evil Waffle was looking at that moment, but hey. at least he killed enough time in the process on a long rotate around the B-bomb, and time is enough to win out for Team Canada. Once again, these narrow rounds seemingly always heading to the side of Team Canada, and now Peng, interesting decision as far as the operator goes, as we'll see a blitz pulled out instead of the Montaigne this time. And downstairs attempted once again from Grizzlies on their second defense. And the biggest crux of that defensive round attempt there was Purple falling immediately inside of dirt as that smoke. I mean, I think the biggest display and the best display of skill playing inside of dirt on Clubhouse as a smoke is Neck Rocks of Evil Geniuses, just an all-star playing in there. Purple may have to watch a couple more VODs to try and emulate that mentality and that skill set as dropping to a Montaigne first. Never a good way to start the round for Grizzlies, and that everyone on the site, everyone started getting segmented off. It was Jarvis pushing down blue with support from Whiskers, and then you also had Darken as that Maestro deep arsenal cut off from any possible rotate, and the next big factor was the kitchen hatch being opened up. With Peng pushing down as that Montaigne into the dirt door, it scared Focons who had those impact grenades to impact trick the kitchen hatch. It scared them to blue boxes where Euphoria Kobe'd off the face of the earth, and establishing that two-man lead where you couldn't attempt your initial strategy of impact tricking the hatch and then losing your smoke initially, everything went downhill from there for the Grizzlies. So a reattempt here, but things are going to have to change significantly for them to pull off this victory and not be down on match point on their defensive side.
I am puzzled as to what Euphoria was looking at, possibly a different call, but he has back to the blue push where Frenchie was coming from. And, you know, it looked like the Thermite was the one that was actually doing that. And you had Evil Waffle who was looking in that direction. But the problem was that Euphoria was the one who really should have been looking there at that close range. Pull up the SMG-11. All you need to do is tag him a couple times. He's very low on HP. But the post-mortem is going to be more condemnation of the way Team Canada played that, but in all reality, it ended up being a loss for Grizzlies solely based on time and time alone, which really came down to hesitation from Frenchie, right? He thought he was going to be able to push in towards where the diffuser was as he C4'd the wall, but he decided to rotate, instead took an angle, took it from a different angle, so.
Well, Grizzlies sending Elastic out on probably a frivolous roam game here, possibly just to waste a little bit of time and take the ire of Team Canada away from the objective, if only for a moment. As we hit the midway point in the round, we haven't seen much progression as far as map control, but here comes the Thermite charge. That's on Moto instead of Dirt. You see Peng, so Team Canada staying very fluid with their strategy, not trying to devolve into the same cyclical attacks over and over again. The Evil Eye can dispatch of the drone, so giving away its location as well, a very sneaky location at the top of that jukebox is a very common spot, but if you're not prepared for it, you're feeling your nerves in a tournament like this on land, then maybe not expecting it. But we hit the minute point now. There's just a few more seconds remain, and Frenchie going to start things off onto Whiskers. That's the Thatcher gone. Jarvis, though, going to immediately trade down at the top of the blue stairs onto Purple, and again, that's the smoke first to fall for the defensive side of Grizzlies.
I don't know what Purple was doing there inside of blue, especially when you had Frenchie not too far off and could have lent a helping hand. You're going to have Dark be able to pick up some slack here as he guns down Evil Waffle, the Heart Breacher done, but he's done his job. Both exothermic charges have been used, as you noted. Got that church wall open as well, and Peng playing inside of Moto. He's going to just be able to establish that control simply by existing. In the cut and thrust of a push here as Jarvis picks up his second kill, takes out the Maestro. Euphoria tasked with flank duty, but he's got a Claymore set up on the stairs, and a perfect opportunity for a plant as well. Jarvis in a very tight corner now as Peng is going to guard Euphoria going for the plant. There's going to be a drop from the Ella. It's a silent drop. Scorpion will just simply do a lot of damage to the shield. Jarvis picks up his third kill. Plant goes down successfully. The Jackal looking for his fourth. Oh, Jarvis finds it. He's got the fifth in mind, and he's going to see Focons get pinged through the wall, but it'll be aggression from Team Canada. Peng is just going to simply block him off. He's going to hit a Kumine, and well, he's going to go for the hip fire, trying to take the Legion down, and Peng is going to deny the ace from Jarvis, and it'll be match point for Team Canada as it is a rhythmic finish and an almost perfect post plant from Canada as they just lock the site down. Grizzlies boxed out, cannot retake.
Beautiful job there from Peng, and you may think this is maybe the most pointless thing to call out of that entire round, but standing on top of the plant attempt from Euphoria from behind boxes inside a church. If Elastic had hit that drop and Peng was not covering, there were 4 seconds left on the clock. if he had taken down Euphoria, there's no way Team Canada successfully get a plant off in that position with also, even if Jarvis had come in for the trade, I mean, it's down to a 2v2 at that point. You have Jarvis on a 1v2 unlimited HP on the attempt to hold off a swarm of 2 defenders from multiple angles. That really does come down to Peng playing that Montaigne quite effectively, and I like the swap off from the Blackbeard role. He's playing Blackbeard quite heavily, and we've seen him play Blackbeard a lot in this tournament and just in past examples, back in Pro League for Ronin, back in Challenger League, and in a myriad of different circumstances. Peng has been a strong Blackbeard player, but his shield play right now is the difference maker for Team Canada. Back-to-back rounds in the attack now, putting themselves on match point.
I mean, the church didn't work downstairs, so you got to go somewhere else. I mean, you mentioned that this is more of a defender-sided matchup. Maybe the defense,
5 seconds to insertion.
I guess all their luck ran out on coastline. As I mean, Team Canada did well on defense. They walked away 3-2, but they've won both attacks downstairs. I mean, if you're Grizzlies and you're facing match point, it's sensible for you to go somewhere else, and that's exactly what we're going to see here. Going up top to CCTV Cache, which is, it's strange because depending on the way the operator bans shake out, Clubhouse ends up being a map that has 3 perfectly viable sites. I mean, obviously Gym and Master is probably usually the 3rd, but you can rotate between CCTV Cache and Church Arsenal downstairs. And it's really a 1A, 1B type situation. With this site, you're going to obviously try to take garage control first. You see there's a body prone of Grizzlies up top, and well, it's probably the Maestro, I would imagine, playing with that ACOG, because that is the most advantageous place for a Maestro to be situated on those metal rafters, just waiting, and he's just on the Evil Eye Cam and has 2 bodies by the garage door waiting to push in.
We've also got Elastic laying prone in wait behind the island inside of the garage. A frag grenade launched straight up and that'll down off Darkin. No ADS placed in or cleared out by Team Canada, but now Darkin's going to have to get a revive pulled off here by Focons. He impacts the wall into the rafters, just trying to create a prone hole for him to walk back out of, and covering the peek in by Whiskers at the bottom of the garage door. But here comes Peng moving his way up the rafters, all the way pressing directly onto Darkin as he gets the kill. He unshields and Focons with a great trade. So there goes your Montaigne, but you've lost your garage presence. Another frag grenade will flush out the remaining defenders close to the window on the rafters. And Jarvis holding for flanks down below. You have 2 defenders rotating all the way down to the basement. Facilitated flank towards the garage. This could catch Team Canada off guard. One makes his way into lounge, and the thermite charge will detonate on the balcony wall. Team Canada in a good spot with a lot of site control, but the flanks will be devastating if not predicted. And here comes Elastic in through lounge to drop Euphoria and again establish the man count in the favor of Grizzlies.
I'm very curious as to what Euphoria was doing when Peng pushed in. Where was the coverage for the Montaigne to go frag chasing and get the kill? I mean, that was not an ideal trade, I would say, for Team Canada. You lost the Montaigne there. Obviously, taking out the Maestro is a high priority target, as the Evil Eye cams are going to be locked in place. You can't open them up. They're basically just static cameras at that point. Of course, they're bulletproof static cameras that if you don't have gadgetry on your side, which, as you look from Team Canada, they have an EMP and that's about it to take care of it, and that's only temporary. But Team Canada loses probably one of the main 3 prongs of this attack, in addition to the Jackal as well as the exothermic charges on that thermite. So construction is now going to be the main focus, as they're going to have to essentially divert course because they don't have garage control. They've got 20 seconds to work with and not an awful lot of time, as the Gubine does get triggered. And inside of construction, well, they're just going to get choked off. Frenchie takes down Evil Waffle, and both Jarvis and Whiskers are just languishing. Whiskers on the flank watch, missing his shots, and Elastic will hit every single one needed. Jarvis with 5 seconds left does not hold that diffuser at a complete loss here, and you just need to save the AWP. Grizzlies win the round just simply of perseverance.
Tough spot to be in there. I mean, if you're Team Canada there, you got to establish, number 1, the coverage like you talked about for the Montaigne of Peng to push through. Like you said, Euphoria not covering that angle for Focons to grab the trade. And then you've got to look at your positioning. I mean, you had the garage control, 1 flank completely deterred you. Even with Jarvis on flank watch downstairs, he pulls off the position in the most inopportune time. It wasn't like there was a call given or a completely obvious rotation that he saw and just ignored. It was just bad timing on his part. But Team Canada, you have that garage control and you flushed everyone out of CCTV as well with an impact rotate that typically is not there to get in behind the server racks. That's got to be your ingress point. You can't then try and go for a rotate all the way around to construction, trying to come upstairs and then floundering down inside of stock on a rotate up cache stairs with 6 seconds left is a last-ditch effort. take the map control you've garnered. You've already sacrificed a body for it, probably your most influential body in the Montaigne. Press forward. Don't peel back at that point. And yeah, we're gonna go bar stock. I love it. I enjoy this site a lot more with like Castle.
With the match on the line,
Yeah.
for Grizzlies, they're going to roll with bar stock, possibly trying to catch Team Canada off guard. This could play into what was said in the last matchup, where if you're not fully prepared for it, your attacking strats suffer, the defense ends up doing quite well. Grizzlies could manage to eke this one out. But the problem is that even if Grizzlies wins here for them, just in terms of pure numbers, they're still going to have CCTV cache locked. You're going to have to go downstairs, possibly to Church Arsenal, or you're going to have to go to Gym Master. So you roll the die on this site. You can't go back down to Church Arsenal. You lost it twice already. I mean, you might as well do something different. But there's a lot of hurt coming your way from Team Canada. A Glass, a Montaigne, you've got Sledge as well. Just for fragging potential, and any electronics that might fall in your line of sight will be taken out by Whiskers. So he's going to have those EMPs available for him on the Thatcher. So for Grizzlies, they could have just ended up putting themselves in a very interesting position, and it's all really going to hinge on strip control. And that's exactly where Elastic is. He's got his shock wires. He's going to possibly try to actively bandit trick, because once they lose strip, well, the push onto that pool table site over by A, it becomes very difficult.
The scariest thing for me is that Grizzlies are triple stacking strip push right now, yet you have a Glaz and a Montaigne. That is your easy #1 target to go for a stock push. Just push through the man advantage on the side of strip, and there goes one Toxic Babe out from purple less than a minute into the round. Eating up that utility is Pang's Montaigne once again, and you saw Whiskers prepping a Claymore for the pool table window, making sure no one can go for that jump out, and he can maintain that control of the front door into lounge the entirety of the time. This is going to be a full stock send for Team Canada, barring some monstrous collapse on their part and losing a handful of team members. And here comes the Sledge from above, with Euphoria descending down and causing havoc and panic into the heart of purple. Almost hitting the midway point of the round, and there go all the ADSs inside of stock being burnt out as well. You have frag grenades from Euphoria that he could drop down, sitting up on top of the island and just seeing the feet lighting up the backside of purple on 1 HP, and he'll have to bail out. There goes your stock control, a second Toxic Babe utilized on the evacuation. He's on 2 HP. Frenchie, though, will take down Euphoria on a flank top side. There's your top control momentarily, and he'll rip back to sight as stock control completely surrendered by Grizzlies.
Actually not a terrible spot for Frenchie to be, because he can now also play this doorway by kitchen, which is where he's going to head. So it ends up working out quite well for them. A second kill for Grizzlies will be found, and just firing into the smoke. Oh, Dark will find a second kill, and he's looking for more. Purple is still there with Frenchie rotating now, but Peng only has Whiskers. Also, Peng has the diffuser in hand. That's a problem. And oh, a team kill from Focons, as Whiskers inside of lounge will just watch. They see Focons' position, but they're going to have to try and figure out if there's going to be a push from over on kitchen's side. 30 seconds or more, as there goes Whiskers from Elastic and dropping the shield. It'll be Peng. They gamble on bar stock. It works out, and it's still match point for Team Canada, but are they going to need the 11th hour yet again? They've got one more crack at it before overtime, and for Grizzlies, it's going to be a story of just simply hanging on.
The power of that Alda, the unlimited ammo capacity, just firing blind darts into the smoke and coming up with 2 kills was the knife in the back there for Team Canada. And once again, a match point opportunity, this time 5-2 instead of 5-3, nonetheless surrendered as we go the distance in regulation, possibly headed to another overtime map in map #2. All right, this is going, we're going to be here deep into the evening, and there's a 6-pick from Elastic, and I'm just waiting to see Church Arsenal once again from Grizzlies. That's going to be it's going to be the problem here. As the 6-pick comes out from Elastic, could do a lot of damage if Team Canada aren't prepping with their drones, just being lackadaisical with it. But the way that Team Canada have dominated on their rolling of downstairs, Peng's Montaigne has just been a force to be reckoned with, and that's why I imagine the 6-pick of Elastic comes out. Still, this is a tough spot to be in for Grizzlies, although we've seen it on Coastline, the ability to run back the score and push themselves, the resiliency. They clearly, they take a minute to sort things out, but once they do, they are a team to be reckoned with. It's a hotly contested battle, even when it looks like Team Canada's going to run away with it in both maps.
Yeah, I mean, the setup that you see from Grizzlies is more trap-oriented. I'm surprised they wouldn't roll with an Ella possibly to try and take it on as well. And have 3 of probably the most valuable trap operators in addition to the Capkin as well as that Legion that's on the board for them. Of course, you've got Legion's impact grenades, so we can possibly try and take out the exothermic charge on the hatch above. Possibly give you some cover as you deprive the attackers of their utility, but it's all, of course, speculation. I am actually intrigued that the Grizzlies didn't opt to go over to Gym and Master side of things. You tried Church and Arsenal twice, it didn't work either times. And frankly, the only time it was particularly close was when you got an incredible clutch, but then ran out of time.
Yeah.
That was it. The other time, it really wasn't that much of a contest. So I'm actually kind of surprised that they wouldn't roll the die going upstairs.
Maybe they imagined one was enough as far as the bar stock pick. That's, like I said, I enjoy the site. I think it is still quite viable. I think the reason teams shy away is it's left too much of a sour taste in the mouth of players from past of the old club. But nonetheless, they roll the dice. If it works out, maybe not trying to gamble back-to-back rounds. Is, like you said, the lives are on the line. They throw that gamble down 5-3. The Thermite charge, though, come out onto the Moto hatch. And once again, Grizzlies playing, I think, the 5 on site. They did send out Elastic on the last time defending this objective, but no, everyone from Grizzlies hard on the objective, just trying to hold down their angles. We hit the midway point in the round, some ADS is being worked out from some errant flashbangs being launched in, but no real succession. Oh, and just missing the rotate of Purple once again. That Cavalier smoke that has surrendered his life first on the defensive side in back-to-back attempts downstairs, almost loses his head for a 3rd consecutive time on this site.
And that's just pretty typical, slow going, knowing that we are sitting on match point because you don't want to get too reckless here. Frenchie can't rotate through Oil Pit. There's a Claymore position there. And in fact, with the Thermite running, the flashbangs and a smoke grenade on Peng, prioritization to burn the ADSs with no Zofia for Team Canada. Of course, Zofia is an expert being able to take out those ADSs, but since she's not here, you're going to have to compensate for that. What that means is that there won't be another Claymore available for the Thermite. So they're going to have to invest in a very deliberate flank watch here. And you mentioned using all of that ammunition. I think he mag dumps there as Darkin sprays into Peng. Peng tries to engage, but C4 gets tossed out from the Capkin, and it will miss its target. Sailing right past, everybody is still alive.
Here we go in a 5v5 bloodbath inside of Moto now. A second Toxic Babe, again repelling, and here comes the Evil Eye zapping away. Lots of errant shots, but there goes Jarvis getting the first kill onto Frenchie, the standout performer for Grizzly through this matchup so far. More smoke grenades being dumped in as the plant is attempted to be facilitated here. Evil Waffle with another one, pressing right up against the breach, although his Elastic trying to go for 2, but no! The knife from Peng. Focon's able to grab one onto Jarvis, putting the diffuser down on 1 second left, but Focon's grabbing Euphoria and Whiskers is down. They just need to clean up Peng on 5 HP, and there goes the Evil Eye! Grizzlies running right back 3 straight when we go to OT for the 2nd consecutive map.
Talk about D.
Let's effing go indeed, boys. Let's effing go indeed.
This game is still rated 18+ from my understanding. That kind of language is, of course, in the game. It doesn't surprise me to hear certain players use it either. Of course, Thermite
has said it every single round. I think
Thermite says it a couple times. But anywho, the ability to be able to dig deep and stave off of defeat when this much adversity is knocking at your door from Grizzlies really speaks to their trust they have in each other and the ability to shore up a lot of those mistakes. Of course, their Church Arsenal defense often died with Purple early on, and I mean, you have your opening death be your smoke every single time.
Yep.
That's an issue, especially on Church Arsenal, especially when even if you're able to take out the exothermic charges, you remove the heart destruction from the attacker's arsenal, you're still going to have to deal with them funneling in through these narrow doors. Those toxic canisters that come in Smoke's hands are incredibly useful in doing that. You lose those early on. Didn't happen this time. The Capkin also ended up being a pretty good pick because they hit at least 2 traps that I heard get triggered, including the down on the Whiskers as well, which ended up being technically the final kill in the last round. And I mean, that pays dividends when you have to stop and continuously mark every single doorway. If you're not droning it out, you have to just check it with your eyes and possibly put somebody in a position where they have to shoot the trap, and there might be somebody there on the other side to get you.
Especially when we're seeing these 5v5 site pushes
10
with
seconds.
10 seconds left, you're not going to think to look down at the doorway, even if you know, even if
5
you
seconds
register
remaining.
for 2 minutes and 50 seconds of that round that there is a cap cannon, you have to be careful.
Attackers' objective
In those
is to
last 10
locate a
seconds,
bomb.
panic will ensue and they'll take over and you'll just rush through the doorways, and it's an easy 60 or 40 health taken off, or 50 depending on your armor, but I mean, it's a lot of free health gained, especially in those dire seconds. We saw all 3 remaining attackers with the last 10 seconds left for Team Canada on 10 HP or below. It was a bad spot to be in for all 3 of them, and that goes in tandem not only with the Capcan traps, but also those toxic babes being available. Whiskers, though, going to start things off onto Elastic. That's that bottom hold from last time around, dispatched of that. Elastic eventually went down into Oil Pit and hit a long flank up the blue stairs to dispatch Euphoria. Whiskers going to keep his teammate alive in this one. And again, grabbed himself a man count advantage early, but not as much real estate garnered this time. And an ADS placed in perfect purview, but a bad peek from Darken as he tries to hit the shot onto Euphoria, but will be felled for it. The L85s right now, pure dominance for Team Canada. Both kills acquired from each of the SAS attackers.
Odd to have the ADS be able to grab
Bomb
that
located
EMP
by
out of the air. You don't see that every day when it's from below. Of course, the ADS was positioned up on the metal rafters. Drone work from Jarvis will find exactly. Oh, Jarvis
Attackers have located
just
a bomb.
walks in and removes Focons' head from his body. Looks like it might be another peek there on the SMG-11 on a Jarvis. Gets downed by Purple and then finished off after a quick reload. So Purple still alive, but man, the brisk pace of Team Canada as they will get that diffuser
Attackers are
down.
activating the
Purple
diffuser.
not
not too far away, and he's in good position to greet the Thermite. He'll spend one of those toxic babes, and he's got one left, but no rotate hole available. He's going to have to go through the one behind the reinforcement. Peng at the bottom of the stairs. Well, he's there to guard Whiskers, and he finishes off Frenchie, and it's a lockout from Team Canada. That aggression that you mentioned that they were known for 2 seasons coming into full display, and they will go back to match point.
So back-to-back maps. We have a similar game script heading into overtime. Team Canada, this time though, taking the first round in overtime, looking to lock this out. And it's huge considering the defense has been pretty dominant on the downstairs for Team Canada. I believe going 3 for 3 on it, only losing on their offsites. But here comes Team Canada once again, and Pang making an alteration, pulling out the Clash, already having superiority and demonstrating a lot of pain infliction. Oh, and there he goes.
2 shields on the board for these teams, as you saw both the Clash as well as the Montaigne.
Attackers
And
need
we'll
to
head on
locate and
in now.
defuse
So
bombs.
that would have been really interesting to see the 2 shields square off against
Yeah.
one another. A Church Arsenal hold downstairs for Team Canada, which they were successful on before. Of course, Team Canada walked away from their defensive split 3-2. They've already taken 1 on attack so far. And interesting thing for Grizzlies is that Grizzlies will only sit on match point in the very final round should they end up winning this one. As for the structure that we see on Grizzlies' side of things, they really liked bringing that Maverick here, of course trying to take out the Church, or the Moto Hatch, and then try to apply pressure to Church
10 seconds
alongside the Thermite that they had in Focons' hands. Focons being able to not just
5
frag
seconds
well and
remaining.
also make calls while getting the exothermic charge off and the plant out. What an addition to this roster
Attackers
he
must
has
locate
been.
and defuse the
But
bomb.
as for Team Canada, you're going to have a lot of information gathering, as is usual. Maestro and Valkyrie, you can ban Echo, you can ban Mira, but you're still going to have the others available to you. And we saw how important that information is for Team Canada to be able to give it to everybody and keep the rest of the team alive. I'd imagine from Grizzlies that they're probably going to go for an aggressive Church push, probably try to smoke off Blue and then hold down the main hallway at the bottom of the main stairs. But that's going to be incumbent upon the roamers from Team Canada and how much time Grizzlies has available to them.
Talked about how this is possibly the greatest rival for Team Canada to face in all of the Canadian-only competitions we've ever seen, and as of right now, we have gone 25 of a possible 26 rounds. I don't know what it is with you and me casting games, but apparently we like to go the distance regardless of what the event may be. Grizzlies moving in with a lot of authority and pace here, as you saw Elastic sprinting straight through Strip, disregarding any possible roamers hiding in any corners for some sneaky flanks. Had a drone in front, but it wasn't even checking the possible hiding holes in Strip or bathroom or pool table. Everyone on Grizzlies trying to move with a brisker pace here and facilitate this push with maybe some more time to try and bait out the utility. Here comes the Thermite charge onto Moto Hatch.
That's the same hatch that we would usually see the Maverick working on, so Instead, I think they realize that they can apply the blowtorch elsewhere into better use. Now, the last time they managed to open up that hatch and you saw the move towards this church wall, there was bandit tricking that managed to get the exothermic charge of Focons. But Peng isn't in a position to bandit trick at all.
Well, I think what he's trying to do is open up a hole against the wall to launch the nitro cell into the hallway. And here comes a smoke grenade now. Focons with the Evil Eye temporarily disabled. Here comes the EMP on the wall, turning around and zapping away. Here comes the nitro cell. No, Peng unable to launch it through. Probably got stuck on the wall there as he needed a shotgun to get rid of the studs, and the MP7 with that caliber-based destruction just not enough. But Whisker's still playing tight up against the breach hole. The first Toxic Babe launched out from Evil Waffle now, and we talked about baiting out the utility. This is a good timing, a good pacing here from Grizzlies to be able to level things up and send us the distance.
And Whiskers is going to be there to greet them. Just watching this open hole, there's pressure at the bottom of the main stairs is where you see Grizzlies assembling for the time being. Whiskers will hit the deck. Focons instinctively fires where Whiskers is usually playing all the way down inside of blue. It's going to have to just be punch after punch now for Team Canada, as there's no Toxic Babes available for those that were counting at home. There's still an Evil Eye as well that you just heard a zap there. Frenchie takes one down, traded off immediately by Whiskers onto Focons. Whiskers picks up his second. Evil Waffle under fire. Whiskers will pay for his crimes. Darkin gets the kill. They'll grab that diffuser. Evil Waffle rotating into blue. He sees one, but no, he's out of ammo. He gets some damage done, but Frenchie will exist. Trying to go for two. Frenchie gets another. It's all up to Peng, who just needs to hold off for the defuse, but it is going down, and Peng is currently blind. It's a great opportunity for Grizzlies here, but we've seen a bandit get a great clutch in a post plant before. He'll give his position away. He doesn't know there's pressure in blue. Oh, Peng will get the kill and the down now, as there goes Frenchie. Darkin is at full HP, holding one of the best weapons in the toolbox for the attackers in that C7E. And Ping's going out onto the bandit because of the last remaining drone. There it is. Darkin will get the clutch onto Peng. Grizzlies still alive, and we are going to go to the 13th round yet again.
26 for 26 through 2 maps. Our first match that we cast together at DreamHack as well in Montreal was the Cloud9 and Ven Mocket game that went, I believe, 34 of a possible 39 in that best of 3. We are in a best of 5 right now, so that would give us 5 by 13, it'd be 39, 52, 65 possible rounds if we go the absolute distance.
I think we have hotel rooms.
Honestly.
The run of show that we were handed accounted for if every single matchup went the full 13 rounds. And so far, so good.
So far, the planning paying off.
So we are banging along here. So, but no, I mean, it just really goes to show these two teams, right?
Yes.
I mean, if Team Canada wins this, they're up 2-0, but 2-round difference, it could be 2-0 Grizzlies, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at for the time being. The attackers really putting together a good effort that last time around. You know, you saw Whiskers doing a great job inside of Church, gets the 2 kills, basically defangs the push. But Diffuse goes down as they cycle in, they catch out Evil Waffle. Evil Waffle unable to get that kill inside of blue onto the Zofia. And if he hadn't been out of mag and had some bullets still left in his mag, he would have been able to get the kill onto the Zofia. Then you also have the Maestro stay alive, and that entire round goes in favor of Team Canada, and we move on to Consulate as our third map. But no, we're going to have another and final round here, as the first time Grizzlies goes on to match point is going to be on this final round, interestingly enough. Oh, my apologies. It's Border. Consulate.
Oh, I had that wrong too. Yeah, so Border would be our third
So
map.
Border is next. Consulate will be. We will see Consulate. If Grizzlies wins this round, we will see Consulate.
Here comes that exothermic charge downstairs against those garage walls, and Elastic continuing to play this position, but he's going to bail out before sacrificing his life this time. Maintaining his position, but inevitably bailing. The Jackal Ping's coming out, and you still have the frag grenades being launched in, but there's the perfectly placed ADS behind the rafters to keep Darkin alive. Also not going for that over-aggressive peek. Evil Waffle will now be breaching open the balcony wall into CCTV. Euphoria repelling up for some coverage as well, and you see Peng just toying with Darkin, back and forth, in and out. Just backing in and out of the doorway, and you see the Evil Eye trying to zap away at him, but fruitless as it'll just rattle off the shield. Whisker still holding for Elastic's return through the lounge doorway to garage, and none such return happening. Grizzlies realizing that this is the precipice of either being down 2-0 or leveling map count 1-1 to extend it to at least a 4th possible map. playing very reserved, not trying to overextend and overaggress in any way. And Frenchie playing a very sneaky position at the bottom of Oil Pit. The Evil Eye still repelling Peng from getting in through this garage door. Back and forth. And again, we hit the midway point of our final round on Clubhouse. And it's still a 5v5. Everyone playing very patient.
Elastic poised to greet anybody inside a garage. It was Peng who got obliterated through dirt last time around, if I remember correctly. Or possibly even Euphoria that was playing. And there's Elastic, gives his position away, and Peng is going to soldier on. He's getting zapped and tased, but he can get the Maestro here. Oh, he gets the shot onto Dark, and it only takes one bullet. And Peng is downed with a goo mine in his foot, but it'll be Elastic cleaning up. He gets caught out by Whiskers on the rotate, and you see smoke from above as well, likely as Jarvis has smoked something out. Oh, Whiskers absolutely dismembering Purple, and this is Team Canada now regaining the swagger and momentum they had earlier.
You can also see Frenchie coming up the blue stairs as a flank, and Focon's playing top. Red is the last one. Whiskers too preoccupied looking skyward. And here comes the rotate now. Frenchie just misses him, but pressing it behind, the ping's coming out. Whiskers has no idea, and Frenchie will cut one down to slowly chip away at that man deficit. See a vault coming back down. Now as the press comes in, shots rattling off against the soft wall from Jarvis, and he rattles in, and there goes Focons. Evil Waffle walks it out. Team Canada up 2-0. 7-6, 7-6. We press onward to border with Team Canada still having yet to surrender a map on land.
It's come pretty damn close, though.
How do you feel right now being Grizzlies, though? I mean, you started off the first map being Coastline, a map that you chose, a map that you also lost against Team Canada on week number 1. You're like, okay, we have a chance to actually come back and do a revenge match and show them we could actually play Consulate. They battled back, bring it to overtime. They unfortunately lose 1 round short. Second map, it goes into overtime again. You're 1 round short of winning it and guaranteeing a 4th map. Now, how do you feel going in their shoes? Like, do you lose the momentum? How do they bring this back into the 3rd map?
I mean, absolutely. You lose. You get discouraged, and this is really where it tests the teams. This is your bigger issue here. Not so much that you've lost the maps, that you've lost them in heartbreaking fashion. 1 round makes all the difference. 1 kill makes all the difference in some of these rounds, and you end up in a position where you're up 2-0. This is the closest that these teams literally could have gotten. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, a lot of those rounds, we also went into extra time for defuse plants going down in the final minute, and then teams trying to battle out the clock. So this has been an absolute marathon for these teams so far. There's obviously some fatigue that sets in at some point. I mean, the teams that have more practice on land will be more prepared for it. But more than anything, you fought so hard, and none of your hard work has been rewarded so far.
For sure. At this point now also, we had a bit of a struggle for CCTV cash holes for Grizzlies, or should I say on the attacking side, even the defensive side actually. Mm-hmm. The Montaigne that was being played by Team Canada seemed to be unstoppable at that point too. I know there was 1 round where they actually used a Kaplan, to try to counter that push a little bit, but, or no, sorry, not a Kaplan.
Kapkan, it's okay.
Kapkan, yeah.
It's okay.
Thank you. French, English, Vietnamese. Anyways, they tried to counter that. Did you think they should have used that more?
It depends. You saw it come out in full force on that one defense where they utilized it because there was that sporadic, chaotic, last-ditch effort push into the objective. On other rounds, it was Team Canada pressing the advantage much earlier. You see this incredible clutch by Jarvis, though, where there were definitely moments where things came down to the wire on Clubhouse, as the same as Coastline. My biggest concern is I don't think even a Kapkan anywhere upstairs in CCTV cache would have dispelled Peng from doing what he was doing. It would have been very obvious that there was one placed on his doorway, and even if he hit it, he would have been 50 HP. Hit the nastiest shot I think he's ever hit in his life onto Dark and the garage rafters before being downed. And the big fact about that is that the trade went the opposite way it did the time before. Last time, Team Canada went down 3v4, but Whiskers in perfect position, gets 3 kills out of it at the bottom of the stairs. And it all went back into Team Canada's favor at that point.
And one more question to ask you guys here, because round number 9, we went over to what you would call a gamble here, Parker, when they went bar stock for Grizzlies at this point. And you mentioned here, Flynn, that you actually like the fact that they chose this map, or this site, but it would have been nice if they had Castle instead of Rook. So let's start things off with, why do you think is this a gamble, Parker, to the operator choices?
Well, it's not operator choices, it's the site, right? I mean, bar stock is seen so seldomly at this level of play. It's been tested by a very small number of teams, and it's usually the same team, so it's always the same culprits who do this. I think the consensus is from most people that it's the site that is least friendly to the defenders. And I mean, when you're staring down match point, you don't want to take a risk on a site that gives you an innate disadvantage, which is what Barstock does. But I mean, wisdom that we apply to most scenarios doesn't appear to be working here at all. You know, Coastline should have gone in the way of the defender, or should have gone in the way of the attackers. It was heavily defender-sided.
Yeah.
This time around, it was a pretty mixed bag. When Clubhouse, usually you see the defense run up the score by quite a bit. So who knows what we're looking at? Both these teams are kind of defying the normal logic.
Yeah,
about
for
you with
me
Castle,
there,
yeah?
I think that, Castle is also really nice. I still haven't revealed my my setup for
It's
for
been a
Barstock
tease
with the
throughout this
Castle.
whole like
It has.
season.
But as far as that site goes as well, that particular defensive round, I mean, you saw Darkin playing on the top of the bar, just pop-shotting up and down through smoke and getting 2 kills out of it. Those bullets missed by half an inch, and it's an entirely different story. You saw just through the pure luck of those bullets connecting onto heads through smoke from halfway across the map, that it established another 2-man advantage, and then following up for a 3-man advantage for Grizzlies. Those shots don't connect. We're talking a very different ball game when you've already surrendered all of that stock control. Your smoke is gone and utilized all of its utility on 1 HP. Your closest player to site is in a kitchen hallway who has to go outside for a flank. It's a very different story if Team Canada maintains their man count.
Well, with that, we do have Team Canada in the lead in this best out of 5, 2-0 right now. So that means that Team Grizzlies' grand final run is on the verge of an end. So let's see if they can bring this back to a 4th map. But the 3rd one coming up, it's going to be Borders. But we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll hop into the action here at the grand finals of the Canadian Nationals. This is what we are fighting for. The trophy, but not only that, also $10,000 for first place here for the grand finals of the Canadian Nationals. I'm Ben Silly. Along with me is Parker and Flynn. What's up?
Hey, how are you now?
Border is coming up, and that is going to be... You know what? I actually wanted to tell you guys, I was in the green room while we were in that little break, and both teams were actually in there hanging out, and they were actually having fun and games, shooting the crap, and saying, like, you know what? So far this series have been amazing in terms of gameplay.
Yeah.
Stressful as hell for both sides, but overall just very fun too. So the saltiness of the trash talk that we had at the beginning of the matchup ends up to still be a very fun, epic series that we are witnessing so far.
Yeah, I mean, these teams are friends. These are teams of friends. You know,
Yep,
the players are friends. It doesn't surprise me that there's good camaraderie here. You know, some of these players have played quite a bit together
For sure.
in other opportunities, in other leagues, etc. So, I mean, a big focus of the Nationals in general is to bring people together for experiences, for possible representation, to play on teams that you wouldn't usually see. So it surprises me very little that there's, you know, a sense of family, I guess, amongst them.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, the crowd, are you guys still in here in Sudbury?
We're not in Sudbury. We're in Toronto.
I know, it's 99 Sudbury Street, though, so it's like the
Yeah,
Sudbury...
but you can't say in Sudbury because Sudbury's a place.
This is a place. It's a building place. But it's Border Team Canada versus Grizzlies in this best out of three. Again, series point now for Team Canada on this map.
Yeah, Team Canada, like I said at the end of the last map, still have yet to surrender a map on land in a Canadian-only event. Thermite Band going to be starting things off, and then hopping to another attacker will be Lion. So once again, we continue the trend of a Lion and a hard breacher. I'm not very shocked by that in the slightest on Border. Defensive bands, though, are going to be a little more interesting, I imagine, than Mirror Echo, but we might get something swapped up for us. I'm surprised that the Montaigne band doesn't make a reappearance from Coastline. And then
Probably Echo or Maestro, actually.
Yeah,
No, but it's gonna be Echo. Echo and Mirror usually are two of the most popular band operators here on Border.
yeah.
Echo has a lot of strength on, you know, the two main sites. Mirror is good universally, so that doesn't really surprise me any that you'd remove her. As for Thermite, that's a second hard breacher of the band that we saw. You know, we saw the Hibana band. You know, just not too long ago on Clubhouse, which really impacted the way that the attackers played things out. Here, a Thermite ban is going to be huge. And I mean, if there's anybody who has any experience with a Thermite ban possibly hurting their opponents, it's going to be Jarvis, whose team, SK playing in Pro League, banned Thermite on Border a couple times and caused the attackers to have to go with a Hibana who's not as ideal to be able to get the hard destruction done that you need.
Most notably, I can't remember if it was week 3 or 4, but it was against Evil Geniuses, and it completely derailed them on Border. Specifically, that was the first game in the season where EG kind of looked vulnerable, and we've also seen that a couple times throughout the Canadian Nationals. We have not seen a lot of Border, which is a little surprising, to be honest. I'm very surprised to see that Border is one of those maps that just doesn't come out all that often in the Canadian Nationals versus most competitive events. It's a mainstay, staple competitive map throughout pretty much every region in every level of competition. Just seemingly here, it's been saved possibly the best for last, possibly the last map of the series. Team Canada up 2-0. Looking to lock things out, starting out on defense for the first 5 while banning out that Thermite, I think puts them in a good spot as well. If I were Grizzlies, I would be solely focusing on some office takes in towards archives. I wouldn't even remotely attempt to go for the operator wall take. Habana, you just don't have the surface area to push through and maintain sight lines in towards the objective and displace any anchors, at least horizontally. You can still go for the vertical play, but I think your office takes are your primary bet.
Even on Coastline, we saw Thermite being played by Grizzlies a lot. Focons, of course, playing the Thermite on almost every single attack. The real question is going to be, what's their adaptability with the Hibana? Obviously, the way you're going to play a Hibana is going to differ greatly from the way that you use a Thermite. If you want to be able to open up one entry point into a wall, you're going to need to use at least 2 of Hibana's 3 X-Kairos charges. Of course, you have 2 exothermic charges for Thermite. You can open up 2 walls with that. You can't do the same thing with Hibana. So typically what we'll see from teams is it'll be with a Hibana on the board, usually more of an office-style push. Open up the one office wall, use 2 rounds of the X-Kairos to get a hole you can walk through, and then use a third just as a possible sight line. You can even use one of them on the armory wall as well, if need be, to apply 2 different areas of pressure. It really comes down to the way that these teams execute. With Vocons being situated in CCTV, looking over towards the armory wall sort of deal, I could imagine that this will probably be an armory take, using the Hibana charges to get that wall open. Of course, with Team Canada running a Bandit, well, they're going to have to deal with the Bandit batteries first, and I think that was part of Perp's intention, is Purple from below, using the frag grenade, just open up some of the floor, and there you go. Very easy for Vocons to be able to open up that wall using 2 of those rounds of X-Kairos, as I mentioned.
Purple escaping on just above 1 HP, but leveling things out in a 5v5 still as we approach 70 seconds, and Purples will go for the reset outside. Trying to go for the reattempt of the rappel up, and to my shock, it's Grizzlies going for an armory take. And honestly, I think I still think the office take would have been more beneficial. This deployable shield also causing a lot of headaches here for Grizzlies. Unsure if anyone's going to quickly peek their head around or pop up, and neither of those impact charges sent out from the lifeline can be used to dispatch of the deployable shield, so it's just offering more freedom of rotation for Evil Waffle to peek out aggressively, and looking down to the floorboards. There goes Purple. That's the buck, and the skeleton key gone. All your verticality displaced, the anchors is removed, and Team Canada once again looking strong. 3 Toxic Babes used, or to be used now. Whisker's going to drop down Darken as well. 30 seconds and an attempted plant in. Hearing possibly a Nitro Cell from Pang right up against the wall, and just a valiant effort to press himself up against the wall, but it's all going to come for naught. And now sitting out on top of AC is Elastic alone, able to shred Pang for 1. But no Diffuser taking a lot of damage from outside. An aggressive run out, and Whiskers wins it. Unfortunate for Elastic, missing a majority of those shots in that magazine, and 416 cutting him down a little bit there, but it's the P12 winning out.
So did Whiskers, losing most of those bullets to the sky.
Yeah.
But anywho, Team Canada takes the first round, and I mean, I think a lot of that was just simply revolving once again around your hard destruction. The way that you open that up, it does not afford the kind of push that you were looking at Grizzlies to make. The way that they were able to get that wall open, yeah. Purple from below took out the Bandit batteries. He was able to push the Bandit off as well. That was a good play. Peng had to back up. He backed into small office. He had the C4. Of course, Peng started Clubhouse off with that double kill. This time around, he's going to start things off with a single kill with that C4, but still putting the secondary gadget to good use. And by doing this, it essentially meant that everybody else from Grizzlies would have to recover that diffuser and try to plant in the default spot by that small office wall where you're so vulnerable. And of course, that's also going to play into any evil eyes that may exist. Were Echo not banned, that's the prime location of a yokai. And then, of course, you've got the toxic canisters as well from the smoke. So you've got a lot of utility from the defenders that can stop you in your tracks. You saw the Hibana had to fall off on 2 occasions before the Nitro Cell went off and blew open the wall and took Vocons out. Now, the one good thing is that as per site rotation, Team Canada now has to go downstairs, which of course will involve your pretty typical setup down on Workshop and Ventilation, usually involving the castle strat. There's 2 different ways you can use it. Either you can barricade the bottom floor with those castle barricades, or you can use them up top to essentially create a nice bunker above the site. Because of course with Border, you always want to clear top down like most maps. But it's incredibly important here because of the destructive capabilities that a good sledge or a good buck can do attacking the site.
Drones coming in, so swapping out to the Ventilation and Workshop now. And the Hibana going to be a little more effective, but you still have to worry about those reinforcements on the armory wall. The push over for Grizzlies seem to be amassing themselves outside towards the office side this time around. Whiskers might be playing off the kill holes there that Evil Waffle is supplying him in the floorboards, but instead he'll elect to rotate off. And the push upstairs from Grizzlies is going to require a lot of finesse and coordination to push through clearly without being caught off guard. And here comes just a sloppy vault in from Purple. Whiskers with a great rotation avoiding the drones, but sacrificial lamb there.
Opening death from Purple again, and that was, I mean, to be fair, in Purple's defense, you don't really expect somebody to be there, especially as it looked like a drone had just gone by. So that's just unfortunate timing, to say the least. As another engagement on behalf of Grizzlies is going to take place, it'll cost Frenchie a quarter of his HP as he engages with Jarvis. And then PX doesn't do a ton of damage at the hands of the Valkyrie, but at least it does enough to keep the Capitao from being able to push in. Jarvis will drop back to site. You'd also heard one of his Valkyrie cameras get popped, so he's only got those 2 left. But good intel that will be used over on that east balcony as well to know if somebody's going to bother to push through the top of the east stairs, which is where we saw one of the rotates happening. Unbeknownst to Team Canada, though, at least it'll be known for the time being, is that the push is going to happen over towards the bathroom side, as Focons will get one of the walls in towards the back of Workshop.
Playing prone right in the middle of the Hibon pulse is Whiskers. Lots of shots come raining into the teller's wall, and Whiskers takes a little bit of damage from those X-Kairos pellets, and now just playing prone. Inches away from the entrance, and he'll absorb the lifeline descending upon him from above. Falcon's angling in towards Customs, not going to spot anyone else. There's too many obstructions in the way. More shots being lanced in against the soft wall. So going to connect, but barely do any damage. He's still above 75, but clearly a massive nuisance for him. And wary of any Valkyrie cams being placed above, and there are none giving the intel. It's just random shots coming in from Jarvis, possibly playing off a default camera that may still remain in the main hallway. Frenchie's still trying to cover from waiting rooms, an attempted flank initiated by Euphoria, but falls off before angling in. And there goes Whisker, standing up right against that breach hole. Will drop down Focons and trying to rush through. Frenchie, though, watching the rotate to hold him off and repel at least one of these defenders. But 30 seconds left, and they have to descend into the objective and recover the diffuser from Tellers.
And Frenchie will grab that diffuser as he sees the vault hole in front of him. The carcass of Whiskers not too far off. Asphyxiating bolt to try and tie everything nicely together, but another toxic canister will greet Frenchie, and he'll have to rotate out. Dark managing to get one kill onto Euphoria as he's in sight, but he doesn't hold that diffuser. It's a double up as Peng and Jarvis grab two, and last body inside a bathroom, and that is it. Oh, Evil Waffle, a tip of the hat to his adversary, out-dueling Zofia, and there will be no strength and withstand this time. It'll be 2-0 for Team Canada.
So, Evil Waffle putting a little bit of salt in the wound there, but it's all play between these two teams. I'm sure no one's going to be taking that too hard. However, Team Canada already up 2-0 on map count, now extend their lead to 2-0 on map number 3. Only 4 rounds away from being the three-peat champions of the Canadian Nationals and Circuit. Customs and Supply Room going to be their tertiary elected bomb site with pretty identical operators for the most part. On their defensive side, some swap-ups coming out from Grizzlies as Frenchie pulls the IQ. And hopefully this time around for Purple as that very useful and powerful skeleton key keeps falling first in the hands of Purple on the attacking side. Hopefully he can be a little more vigilant on his entries and a little more wary of anyone popping up from an unexpected corner and keep that skeleton key alive, as everyone in the defense on the objective for both rounds now has been able to sit in a very strong position in the objective with no cares, no worries about anyone coming at them vertically. It's just a horizontal game, and if you're not playing the game in 2 planes, then you're not playing it right. Customs, another site where you do have to play extremely vertically and push across. We're expecting Grizzlies to start and ramp things up here and try and accelerate. Like we saw on Coastline, the attacks are stalling out a little, just taking a very long time to initiate correctly in towards the objective and actually facilitate a transition to the plant. But Team Canada doing a very good job of stalling, wasting a lot of time and honestly hitting a lot of their shots on aggressive peaks.
The one big thing with Purple is that he plays operators that are so crucial to Grizzlies' overall strategy that you can tell that when he dies, they have to do a complete course correction.
Yep.
On defense, on Clubhouse, he was playing that pivotal smoke roll. And the moment that he was dying early downstairs, the whole rest of the team had to play much more aggressively because they knew they didn't have that plant denial. As Buck, especially attacking ventilation and workshops, you need that Buck upstairs the whole time to put that pressure on you. And they don't have it when he dies early on. So it's very crucial for Grizzlies to keep Purple alive, because even though his contributions don't really appear on the scoreboard, or at least haven't over these 2 maps, he's an operator who is vital to the health of this team's strategy, and Grizzlies is losing when Purple dies early.
Fascinating as well, the man deployment as far as locations for Team Canada. They're having 3 defenders stack on the objective inside of Customs. Very atypical, I would say, for a Customs supply room defense. Even if you're not hard stacking inside a CCTV where Whiskers is, and we'll drop Purple for the 3rd consecutive round, the first one to fall inside of Grizzlies. Even if you're not hard stacking CCTV, typically you spread out a little bit more horizontally on the roam game as well, but Team Canada seemed quite content to let this double hold upstairs inside of CCTV be the linchpin, and then the 3 defenders holding inside of Customs, they can be caught off guard quite easily if this CCTV hold starts to flounder.
Yeah. So, Faucon's now rotating in towards Fountain. He'll blow open a tiny bit of the wall with the end of his Type 89, and the one body of Team Canada that was inside of CCTV has fallen off. There's a second body in there, though, and Faucon's will move around. And along with Darkin, try to determine if there's somebody else playing. The proximity explosion of the Guzman mine that's thrown out of the lifeline from Zofia will find no target, but Frenchie instead will find Whiskers. He was prone, and Waffle just narrowly missing the head of the Zofia. Comes in, but a C4 gets tossed. Frenchie sees it. And a great ride along there, but the C4 does not connect. Frenchie backs up just in the nick of time. Pulls out a drone and will go to do some intel work for the rest of his team as it's a 4v4. Hilariously enough, with 44 seconds to go.
That doesn't draw back memories from anything. Electronic detector being pulled out now to spot out a toxic babe being launched skyward up into the hatch and land at the feet of Faucon's, but he'll easily evade that as the toxic gas will dissipate behind him. Evil Waffle whipping out the SMG-11 once again. He's expended almost all of his shotgun ammo and almost gets finished off here, but Pang able to rush and take down Frenchie on a headshot as he's holding at the bottom of the workshop stairs, and deceptively a quick round as there's only 10 seconds left and they're just going to try and descend into sight. Faucon's hit the shot while falling, but Jarvis with a 2K on the trade out. Diffuser is lost, there's no time left, and Evil Waffle again with the melee to close it out. It's a 3-0 lead. Team Canada 3 rounds away from winning your Season 2 Canadian Nationals.
This is what happens on customs. Pretty standard. If you can get control from above, you got to continue to open up the floor and the ceiling to add the pressure. You can't just drop through the hatch. It's not a clown car. You can't just all burst out at once. It's very easy to gun you down. Jarvis nailing his shots gets the 2-piece as they drop through that exact hatch. And once again, you got to put purple on an operator that is not that crucial to the rest of your strategy, because they lose the buck yet again. They lose that soft destruction. You know, even if you've got a sledge can't toss his hammer. So you still need to use the skeleton key to be able to blow things up from range. And it's a major thorn in the side of Grizzlies that they keep losing such an important operator who is, you know, holds the whole thing together. It'd be very similar to losing Faucon's when he's usually playing the hard breach and diffuse role. The couple rounds that you saw him go down on on Coastline, rather, it was an incredibly bad situation to find Grizzlies in. So, as you noted, it was a triumphant round for Team Canada, and so far everything is looking good here on border. They're up 3-0. You noted that banning the thermite will help them, especially on their defense. This is Grizzlies' map, so they do have that going for them, but in a best of 5, typically the map pool is so large that map choices don't matter as much as they do in a best of 3 or even a best of 1.
One thing I will point out, though, Coastline, Team Canada up 3-0, goes 7-6. Clubhouse, Team Canada at one point up 3-1 and then 5-2, goes 7-6 on Clubhouse. By all means, Team Canada have looked strong in the beginning, and then it's been the resiliency, the determination, the will to continue to push on from Grizzlies that never fades, that pushes us to that ultimate 13th round. So even with a 3-0 lead, I don't think Team Canada feel all that comfortable. Jarvis getting droned out at the bottom of these stairs and just holding steady as he's not moving. Jarvis gonna get killed off. Not really sure what was going on there, but Darkin pushes in and will dispatch of Jarvis. Within 30 seconds, he's just standing at the base of the stairs.
Unsure if there were some issues there on his side of things, but I mean, that was a very peculiar situation. Not really something that you see all that often, but I mean, maybe he was just trying to be patient and bait somebody out, especially if he thinks there's going to be a push from Tellers. Possibly. But that's basically given up complete control of the first floor. Now, that's not that important here on border. You know, usually if you're going to have an information gatherer playing inside a server, a Pulse, a Valkyrie could possibly be down there. That's usually where you'd see them be, but here's a grenade from Elastic underneath that will blow up the floor, and that'll be right where the half wall is, which a lot of teams will call bunker as well. It's a very strong position for a defender to play, providing they don't lose their footing, because you can be able to pop up and take engagements onto that armory wall. Whiskers all the way inside of offices will try to hold down a push that will go in through Fountain and just simply keep Archives at bay. And unless there's a rotate, which it does appear that Faucon's is finally getting underway, it looked like it was shaping up to be yet another armory take.
The IQ below, but looking down through the hatch is Evil Waffle. He'll take a couple pistol shots in reciprocation, but the bandit charge not yet dispatched of. Elastic, though, will remove Whiskers from play, and you've got a double stack inside of Archives to Pang and Evil Waffle and Nitro Cell. prepped and launched over the arches, and that'll take care of one set of the X-Kairos on the wall, even after the bandit charge was taken care of. And now a rotation, but Purple just pressing into the back of Archives, and Evil Eye zapping him to the backside, and lots of sprays from the Alda against the soft wall. It's a 5v3 advantage for Grizzlies, but they're having trouble grabbing the full control of Archives here. It's just Purple in alone, the Toxic Babe, but the self-flash from the team will full and blind Purple, and still have to back out. The Toxic Babe separating Phocons and Purple momentarily, and flank hold right now. There's just going to be an explosion from outside of Archives. There goes Evil Waffle for one. Purple staring at his backside, but fully extending on the shield. Can't do much about it. Now just guarding for Phocons to try and press in for the plant. Lots of preemptive sprays coming in through the windows and against the soft wall. And here comes Phocons right in against the wall, holding an angle for anyone to peek out. But here comes Purple to block all the shots. The plant being initiated in the back of Archives, and they both descend past. Peng is able to take down Phocons. That's the diffuser planting man, but they lose Evil Waffle in the process. And Peng falls through the hatch. It's just Euphoria left alone on site as he's wildly spraying in. A great shot to the wall from Elastic. Will leave Peng alone in a 1v3. Completing the plant is Purple on that shield, trying to light him up, but no! Drops him down to 1 HP. He's able to down off Darkin with the pistol. Trying to clean it through the wall as Darkin is trying to stand up the self-nade from Elastic. Firing back with the pistol as he can't facilitate a reload on the MP7. He'll duck away into the small office to do it. Both Purple and Elastic on very low HP as Purple starts to press up and take the aggressive angle with Elastic holding the backside as he tries to hit the vault. Elastic with the SMG-11. Grizzlies once again stop the bleeding. Maybe this is the beginning of their march back.
This is the way that the rhythm of this game seems to go, is that it looks like Team Canada is fully in the driver's seat. They let their foot off the gas for just a second, and Grizzlies finds their own, and they just roar right back. So, I mean, this is a parallel to what we saw in Clubhouse. Grizzlies can win this one and give us the same scoreline. But what a round that was. So, I mean, it was a good rotate halfway through after they lost Jarvis early on. Still don't exactly know what was going on Jarvis's end of things, but I mean, basically completely away from his keyboard at that point, and just ends up being cannon fodder for the team as they push in and get that very easy frag on the bottom of the stairs. Then they transition. They look like they were possibly going to go for an armory take. It ends up moving over towards the office's side of things. And the Maestro didn't end up being as much of a factor because Purple, who kept dying early on, well, let's stick him on the Montade so he can't get shot as easily. He at least has an impregnable shield that he carries with him. So, anywho, that's basically what ended up happening along those lines. And then you had the Montaigne push in, he drew most of the fire. It basically boxed the Maestro out at that point, and it's just, as you mentioned, a 5v3 for Grizzlies where they were able to just put the bodies in all of the different doorways and then clamp down on Archives, because that's exactly what they did. Peng falling off and going for the retake. I don't know if that was deliberate or not, if he meant to actually drop through that hatch. But if it was deliberate, it was a good play, because they assumed that most people would be focused on looking towards the plant rather than flank watching.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, it was the decision as well for Purple to be that Montaigne that saved him the round as Peng made it back up to metal stairs and was firing in at the shield and also lighting up the feet of Purple as he was executing the plant of the diffuser in the back of Archives. With mere seconds remaining, Elastic popping open the waiting room windows, but not taking the second to actually look in and spot Whiskers on a late rotate back through main hallway to office double door, but there he goes now at the hands of Darkin, who's peeking through that hole that was pre-made for him by Elastic, and that's a good kill to start things off, taking a little bit of damage in the process, almost down to half HP at the hands of the 416, a heavy hitting assault rifle on the defensive side. Claymores double stacked at the top of East stairs. It looks like once again Grizzlies are going to be prepping themselves for an office
Bomb
take.
located by attackers.
Rough losing Whiskers early for Team Canada, as he had been such a force, being able to run all across that map, not just keeping map control in the hands of Team Canada, but also forcing Grizzlies to have to commit drone after drone after drone so that they were starved for that information as the clock started to tick down towards zero. So he's not going to be available, and probably the best gun on defense outside of maybe the Alda, the LMG that Maestro uses. You're looking at a pretty big loss. I mean, not impactful in terms of utility. You likely have those ADSs down. I would be very surprised if he died with any of them, but.
Activity control.
Drones coming out from Darkin over top of the arches. A nice position here to be able to maintain visibility into the depth of Archives and over through those pre-placed kill holes. Peng, though, going to level man count in Purple. The first to die for Grizzlies. A common theme, and Peng avoiding the flashbangs as another aggressive peeks come out. He's going to evade just slightly to the right and press right up against the reinforced wall as Grizzlies seemingly splitting off now, going for a 2-2 split. 2 against the armory wall and 2 trying to facilitate an office push. A frag grenade will bounce meekly at the entrance to the doorway of Armory and won't do much damage. Now pressing through a Nitro Cell, apparently launched, but the down from Evil Waffle onto Phocons, and he'll finish it off. That's the Breacher gone. Elastic takes a lot of damage from the toxic gas as well, and Pang crawling right up against the doorway, trying to peek out, and he'll duck away into the safety of CCTV, re-engaging and taking even more damage. Elastic on about 10 HP as he'll duck off to safety. And now it's Jarvis coming up the main stairs. Frenchie will eliminate him at the hands of the 552. Jarvis will fall. That's the Nitro Cell from below, but look at the health on Grizzlies. All below 40 HP. Darkin, the toughest standing man for Grizzlies as the lifeline gets dumped in. The pre-fires from Euphoria just missing the side of his head. One will finally connect. A second one now as he's stunned. A barrage of lifelines being sent in, but Evil Waffle connects onto the head of Darkin. He tries to push through. Pang dispatching Elastic, and now it's all Frenchie. Stuck at 90, trying to rotate with 17 seconds left. No diffuser in hand, has to recover it. It's on the opposite side, out by the Armory wall. It's a hopeless round, and Team Canada, barring the throw of a lifetime, are going to go up 4-1. Euphoria locks it out. Team Canada, 2 rounds out from the 3P.
That'll be the first half as well. That'll go in the books here, and we'll test the idea of how much a thermite ban really affected this attack. Because if we see the defense win as Grizzlies now moves over there, then you maybe start to think the ban is going to affect both of them the same way. But I mean, Team Canada, I mean, they've got, you know, we'll likely throw, yeah, there you go, Evil Waffle on the Hibana. That's not going to be a surprise. They're likely going to probably have him hold that diffuser as well. So the way that this map plays doesn't really lend itself to a thermite-less attack.
No.
Right? By going downstairs to ventilation and workshop, it's going to be very interesting to see the way that this works out. Because, I mean, you can use Hibana on the hatches, providing that the team reinforces them. You, once again, will probably go in through tellers, try to take that soft wall, or try to take that hard wall, rather, that singular wall, towards the back of workshop. And you could possibly even try to go in through the bathroom if you need to. But, I mean, that really comes down to the way that you're going to set up these strats here. Grizzlies running with nothing outside of the ordinary. I'm going to be interested to see the way that they play out the castles. It looks like they're going to use at least one on the bathroom. That is not that strange. You can then throw the other 2 upstairs and then once again play aggressively up top, as you're just going to essentially ape Team Canada's strategy at that time.
Nothing too crazy and out of the ordinary. Pretty typical, prototypical, honestly, defensive setup for ventilation and workshop. There's not a whole lot of innovation that's been done under the hold of this site. There have been a few tweaks from different teams, but for the most part, this site has remained pretty static as far as progression of hold. Jarvis, the lone man, picking up Ash, bit of a different take. We saw it a couple times earlier on this evening on a different map, but first time on Border, we're going to see, I think, even see an Ash played. I don't remember seeing an Ash coming out from Grizzlies in there at 5 attacking rounds to start things off on Border. And Team Canada 2 rounds away. That's the biggest thing, but we've said that multiple times before. The strong lead in these maps. Swapping to the second half, Grizzlies refuse to go down without a fight. 7-6, 7-6 after a 4-1, then a 5-2, and then a 4-1 now on map number 3. Will this also head to 7-6, and Frenchie's going to start things hot off to Peng. That'll be the Glaz dispatched up with ease from inside of Armory, and Grizzlies again, they refuse to go down, continue to fight back.
Losing the Glaz is going to be a major issue. Likely, once you get those Hibana holes open, you'll just have Glaz continue to waltz in, cover your plan, and be able to deny a push, barring a C4 or possibly a Toxic Babe getting tossed over. It's easy enough for you to be able to just clear out that site upstairs. But keep in mind that you then have to transition towards that main floor, and that's where Glaz can become even more crucial, is possibly going through bathroom, because you're going to have those Hibana holes open. And I mean, it's the only set of smokes, and oh no, a bandit trick from Elastic. Will he at least have gotten the X-Karos, as Whiskers from below will take out the bandit and put us back to a 4v4.
4v4, and also you've got, that's one member of a 3-man hold topside inside of Armory. I mean, if Team Canada elected to swap over towards a bathroom push and just swarm the objective with the manpower, a brute force take, obviously the ability to rotate down through the ejected hatches for Grizzlies exists, and that's exactly what they'll facilitate now. Both Frenchie and Purple going to back out, retreat back to the objective, so maybe pulling off the site rush a little brisker, may have borne some more fruit for Team Canada, but now they have the control topside to start ripping up the floor with their soft destruction on Jarvis, Euphoria, and Whiskers. And the drone spotting out the Maestro now of Darken inside a bathroom. It's a great position for Team Canada and to start descending down towards the objective.
Focons is here just prime beneath the hatch, ready to greet them. Euphoria takes out one more member of Grizzlies. That's Purple, who will fall the castle down. And I think it was a wise call for Grizzlies to fall off with a minute to go. Focons will get double droned, and oh, he doesn't see the drop. Oh no, Euphoria is there. Frenchie gets back to sight, but it is a flawless round as 2 from Whiskers will put us on match point for Team Canada. A much brisker affair as Whiskers just rips right through 2 of them. As you can see, sight control with the Hibana in there of Evil Waffle as well. And there's only one more round left. Grizzlies had the miracle on Coastline.
Is it too far gone now?
They're going to do it again.
We saw a 4-1 comeback. We saw a 5-2 comeback.
Yeah.
Can Grizzlies pull back the 5-1 and send us to overtime for 3 consecutive? Or are Team Canada once again going to hit a three-peat of championships without dropping a singular map on land?
I mean, you're going to have to run the gamut here, right? You've got to win every single one from here on out just to get to overtime. You've only won 1 round over 6. You now need to win 4 over the next 4. It's daunting. It's really, really difficult. You see the trophy there in the shot? It's got a nice gas mask on it. That's, of course, what everybody's fighting for. Border could be it. So this is what I'd like to have seen from Grizzlies. They'll go upstairs to Armory. It's the most defendable site, let's be completely honest here, especially with Hibana. You've neutered a lot of the attack's possible pushing power by taking Thermite out. Cannot be overstated how important it is to make teams rely upon Hibana. Her heart destruction is great, but it's not well suited for long walls necessarily when you don't have a Thermite at your disposal. If both of them had been unbanned, then obviously we would probably see both. I would imagine you'd see both a Hibana and a Thermite.
5 seconds left.
Because a lot of teams will go for a split push, put some bodies over towards B, and then you have somebody over towards A, maybe 1 or 2. It makes teams have to play completely differently. Grizzlies has been running this similar composition, but I mean, they're going to be running the Valkyrie now. I'll be interested to see how this works, because Valkyrie usually, as we saw from Jarvis, you're going to play them downstairs similar to a Pulse. You can do a mute down there too, but usually you're going to have a camera, maybe a yokai drone, an evil eye, the cardiac sensor, a pulse, just to be able to continuously know where everybody is above you and then toss that C4 up and stop the plant. And if you miss that push, then it's all for naught because you need to retake, and usually there's a flank watch, and most of the times you die.
Jarvis playing ring around the rosy with his drone at the top of the dome and evading one of the impact nades utilized by Focons there to try and get rid of it. Just trying to get rid of that intel finally on the spot with the UMP and quickly dispatched that with 1 bullet on contact. However, CCTV seemingly the operative location for Team Canada to make their initial incursion. Whiskers once again waiting around by the front door, but seemingly wary of anyone hitting a rotate towards and maybe attempting to engage him. Drone is going to spot out Frenchie. He's going to get spotted and rotate back out deep into Archives to not be able to be in purview of making that engagement towards Whiskers, which will mean that bandit trick they're so worried about will never come. There is no bandit on the board, but also no engagement and no pressure. Frenchie locked downstairs. You have coverage of both stairs. The Hibana holes onto the armory wall have been opened up now by Evil Waffle, so Team Canada electing to once again head towards that armory wall, take full CCTV coverage, and here come the windows being popped open. A waiting room. Jarvis just missing the head of Frenchie, ducked into passport check. The drone will come in to re-verify his location and just scoot on by. It's not going to connect, and Frenchie might be afforded a slight gap to come in and hit the flank of a lifetime to keep Grizzlies in this. Jarvis now pressing in towards the top of the east stairs, and he's going to start pressing his way down the main hallway. Completely forgetting about Frenchie or Team Canada. A minute tick down in a 5v5. The flashbangs are dumped in, and here come the smokes. The Glass of Pang peeking through. Here comes Euphoria with a frag grenade to be launched in. There goes Evil Waffle, and it's all going to descend into chaos.
And you see it. There you go. Evil Waffle's going to get the call. They're going to bull rush right in. Jarvis adds 1. Purple tries to fend them off. Looking for a three-peat here as it's a 4v2. Plant going down. Elastic will need some heroics as it's him and Frenchie left. You mentioned the flank of a lifetime. Where is that Jaeger? Plant goes down quite successfully. Pang is there. Frenchie with a double kill tries to keep this one together. It's Evil Waffle and a post plant, and it'll be Elastic taking him down. So Grizzlies will manage to stave off defeat for the time being. Where is that diffuser? They're running out of time. They're going to need to find it.
Defenders have
And there you go. They'll get it by the half wall. We'll keep playing on, and Grizzlies coming so close, and Team Canada just letting that one slip through their fingers.
Disabled by defenders.
Incredible resiliency once again. So, extending it back to a 5-2, our Grizzlies. Team Canada, not sure if they're feeling the pressure. That seemed like a very aggressive initial push through, like it was an explosive rush to the Habana holes and the armory door, and it really was just that flank of Frenchie that was devastating. The dagger in the back to Team Canada to try and lock it out, and I don't know if they're just feeling the pressure or if there's something else going on, that Grizzlies really need that motivation, that adrenaline pumping to be able to perform. But man, do they not give up without a fight.
No, and you're right. Frenchie was the big one right there. They didn't drone out Passport downstairs. When they didn't do that, they didn't know that there was going to be a flank coming in from the Jaeger. Now, I mean, Border is a more compact map where you can get back to site very fast if you're a 3-speed. That's exactly what we saw from Frenchie, and he came back at the perfect time. And he was able to basically jump on and do excellent work along with Elastic there, who also picked up 2 of the kills, and they got the 4 that were needed. So here we go. It's still on match point. Grizzlies had won 3 rounds previously in a row. They won 4 if you count the overtime. Now they're going to need to continue to do that. They've won 1. They're going to need 3 more on top of that, as it's 5-2. And unfortunately, the only defensive win for Grizzlies they can't go to until they need to go to match point. So they'll go down to customs instead.
Well, the most interesting of 6 picks of all time. A Zofia to a fuse for Whiskers, and a Caveira being pulled out for Elastic. Probably 2 of the least picked competitive operators we ever see in any universe, in any region, in any league, being pulled out at simultaneous moments. Possibly the inflection point for the entire series. I mean, one interrogation could completely turn Team Canada on their heads. I mean, it's basically an assured round unless it's, I don't know, an interrogation in the first 10 seconds. Other than that, I mean, I don't know, it could turn Team Canada into a spiral. And we've seen that from Grizzlies. All it takes is one rolling stone down the hill, and it snowballs into this giant mass of momentum that carries them on through to overtime.
All right, so 30 seconds. Drone phase still going on, but Cav gets spotted. Oh, they've seen her inside of Fountain and offices, and shotgun out, trying to take any kind of close encounter that she can have on top of the hatch. Elastic does have the ability to escape if need be, but will instead shimmy under the desk and hide himself. I think Peng just saw the hand of the smoke set down a belated razor wire, and that could have been a pretty bad move for Darkin if he had been shot up.
It would have been an easy dispatchal of possibly the most influential operator. Maybe the Cav a little bit more, although Elastic has taken slight damage and bouncing back and forth, but evading all connection of bullets is Focons and Peng, rattling shots back and forth at each other, the exchange neither landing. And Peng being stalled out quite a lot here. This is a good job from Focons and Darkin on the double hold upstairs inside of CCTV with the customs defense. That's the big thing. I'm sure Team Canada were expecting an alternate hold towards ventilation and workshop, but this comes as a shock and eclipsing the midway point in the round. It's Team Canada doing slight damage with their bullets, but not being able to connect for the finishing blow and not garnering any map control whatsoever.
No, just stalling out right now, just staring in through the doorway towards CCTV. I mean, this is the prize jewel right now of the defense for Grizzlies. If they lose control of CCTV, it becomes very difficult to, hold on, because that's essentially all the map control you need. Oh, so close. Peng to seeing the head, and he's just going to miss a little bit. But he's got Euphoria not too far off. The flashbang is going to go in, and Jarvis is there as well. He just narrowly misses, but Peng will get it along with Jarvis. Team Canada picks up 2 very fast kills, and knowing that they're going to have to go downstairs, there's the fuse in play as well.
Whiskers probably sending some cluster charges down into the objective, and Hibana charges coming out as well. Frenchie lancing out towards a flank, and here comes Elastic towards the top of East Stairs, where currently Peng is pushing in, and MK17 versus Louise on close range. It might be Elastic to win that out. The cluster charges descend upon the site and force the evacuation of Purple as one connects on him and takes almost all of his HP. Here comes the flank up East Stairs from Elastic, but it's all descending into anarchy now.
And he sees it. He gets a couple shots in. It's going to be big damage, but not enough for a down. He is so close as the Cav right now on the razor's edge. He's going to see one go for a down. Oh, it's 2! And in the words, oh no, come on, give us 1. No, it's going to be 3 as Elastic picks up a double kill, a 2v3. The Cav can't risk the interrogation, and no plant going down. I know we wanted to see one. I wanted one so badly, Rob, and we're not going to get it. But at least Grizzlies will pick up their second round, and here we go. They're firing up the war machine, and here comes Grizzlies' comeback, 2 rounds in a row.
Still on the precipice of total defeat, a 3-0 possibility in a best of 5, and yet Grizzlies pulling out all the stops. They're down 3v5 in that round, and still do not surrender the will to continue to fight on. A great job there from Elastic on the Caveira, like I said, the least picked competitive operator along with Fuse that we pretty much ever see in any region, in any land, and any league, and yet it comes out in full force here. And here comes another one, a Frost from a Frenchie, and Bathroom Tellers, defense. Seemingly allergic to heading to Vent Workshop.
I mean, it didn't work out. So, I mean, it's why would you go back to the one site? You can keep rotating here. If they win this, it'll be 5-4, and then they can go back to Armory upstairs.
As many bombs as they can.
Obviously, that's what they're going to be hoping to do here is Team Canada will once again sit on match point. They seem to be allergic to not just going to ventilation workshops, but Team Canada seems to be allergic to winning when they're on match point, because we've now had 3 maps where Team Canada has held match point for at minimum 2 rounds, and it's gone to overtime every single time. So,
and they all come down to the wire. Every single one of them, every single round comes down to the wire as well. If it weren't for Elastic hitting that, I don't know how he hits the perfect timing to be able to rotate into hallway, make it through the break door, and go prone underneath a couch with 10 seconds left, and 4 attackers inside of CCTV, just threading the needle perfectly and springing up at the most opportune time to down 2, kill 3. It's remarkable how close every single round is when Grizzlies have their backs against the wall.
Yeah. I was so astonished watching that. I really did want the interrogation. I mean, we don't.
Yeah.
They're seen so infrequently that I wanted everybody to witness the glory as that an interrogation. Of course, we do have the Godly Noob in the audience, and of course, a nice shout out to, of course, one of his signature lines in most of the content that he creates. But with the pistol out, Whiskers eliminating Frenchie, and they know that there's a Frost on the board. As you can see, Peng looks down just to make sure there's no Frost map that's going to appear, and well, given the fact that it's the Frost that's dead, those barrel traps don't disappear. Now, we've actually seen Frost a couple times on border, so she's not that strange, but usually it involves CCTV control. That's not the case this time around. There are no traps there.
Typically, it's banking on an attacker overzealously sending himself through the CCTV windows. Jarvis, a smoke grenade being caught out by an ADS, but able to dispatch of an ADS 2, actually. Both being taken care of. Lots of shots being lanced in against the soft wall by Jarvis, but not going to connect. Just missing by a hair's breadth. But Peng takes down Dark. And Elastic with an immediate trade onto Euphoria, though, to keep it at a 4v3. But once again, Team Canada with the man advantage, though. Elastic with the kill onto Peng, but the team kill by Phocons onto Elastic. It's a 3v2 in favor of Team Canada as they all descend in towards offices.
Phocons and Purple not too far away. Purple just under the desk. I think Jarvis knew there was somebody in there as the Zofia of Whiskers is just blowing open the walls, and Phocons repeatedly stunned, essentially stun locked, playing by offices. Purple unspotted, he'll pop up, he takes out Whiskers. Where is Jarvis? There he is, and Purple picks up another kill. Man, this momentum that Grizzlies find is just something else. Evil Waffle down below, but he's got the wall over, he's got the ceiling opened up. Oh, Waffle's gonna get the kill from below. Takes out Phocons, and it looks like he might actually have control of sight. He holds the diffuser, so it's gonna be between him and Purple, a standoff. Purple repeatedly one of the first people to die, and ironically, he'll be last alive. Oh, he jumps on it, and Waffle will grab him. It'll be a 3-peat, and patience from Team Canada. What a jump down that was, and an absolutely incredible ending.
Team Canada once again hit the 3-peat, continue perfection at land, have not yet dropped a singular map, but this has easily been the closest LAN final for the Canadian Nationals or circuit. I cannot believe those first two 7-6s, and Grizzlies, again, the resiliency, the urge to never quit.
For sure.
That is hard. That is hard to be so mentally tough through 3 maps like that, always being down by significant round count in all 3 maps, and yet the will to fight back. I mean, easily the most competitive LAN final we've had.
It's also quite unfortunate, though, that the way that it ends was unlucky timing of how that drop went.
Yeah.
If it went maybe a second earlier, that would have been the perfect drop to actually make it at least a 5-4. What's wrong? Do I have something in my face?
No, just how funny that was that's what happened.
Yeah.
He Assassin's Creeded him.
Yep. Or attempted to, anyway.
He literally vaulted off him and tried to
But missed
land
a
him.
haystack.
Yeah, he missed it. That's okay.
But at least there it is. A nice series actually won by Team Canada. Anything you guys want to close into this series before we hand it off to Marissa here on the stage?
Well fought. Another great season, the Canadian Nationals, another great LAN. And just congrats to everyone for making it this far, and congrats to Team Canada once again for their dominance. I mean,
And not dropping a single map.
Yeah.
not dropping a single map.
Absolutely dominant.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, we do have Marissa on stage with our champions, Team Canada.
Well, that's very sweet, Vansili, but it's actually Carl who's ready to take it away.
Hey, all right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for all the fans for coming today. It was amazing event. I'm Carl, the founder and CEO of Northern Arena, and on behalf of Ubisoft and Northern Arena, we want to congratulate Team Canada for this win, but also we want to congratulate Team Grizzlies for coming all the way here and giving a great fight. So it was a great event, and now I want to invite Adam Clement. He's Ubisoft manager for esports, and he's going to give them their money.
Ready? He's gonna hoist it. Go ahead, boys, lift that. Woo! Hey! GG's, congratulations to Team Canada. Good. And go in. Get your picks. Amazing. Gentlemen, congratulations. I'm so proud of all of you. Obviously, it was well fought. I just want to sneak in here for 1 sec because we got to chat, Whiskers. After the second match where you guys went OT, you saw me, you walked past me, and you're like, I told you we're going to 3-0 them. How did you know they pushed you to 2 OTs?
Honestly, I was just kind of being cocky, trying to get in their head and all that, because they've been playing, honestly, out of their minds, and it was such a fun match, but I don't know, I had the confidence. I want to keep the record of never losing in Northern Arena, so.
Right, so now you're 3-time champs. That means you've officially hat-tricked this whole Rainbow Six Canadian circuit, so congratulations for that. But I need to know, now because you've won all this money, will you guys be investing in team jerseys?
In which, sorry? We'll have to talk to some people, so we can get some Team Canada jerseys going.
Okay, fair enough. I do want you to speak to your opponents here, because obviously they made you work for it. Were you not impressed by what they did here tonight?
Oh no, 100%. Like, they came out swinging, honestly. Like, I'm very impressed, and I think this team's going to go far. I know they're going for Challenger League, and honestly, if they play the same way, they're 100% going to make that.
And now to your team, how do you feel your team came together tonight? Say those nice things I want to hear.
I mean, we're kind of like shaky with attack, but like, we all kept level-headed, and we just kept playing our game, and we just came out on top.
Now, to your fans, obviously, you need to say something beautiful, some parting words.
I just want to thank all my fans out there that are, I can see some fans back there, but I just want to thank all of you guys for supporting us, and hopefully you keep supporting us through the rest.
All right, congratulations, gentlemen. GG's officially hat-tricked the Rainbow Six Canadian Circuit. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you for tuning in and just hanging out with us all night. This was fun. We will see you next season.